Good evening, one and all. Welcome to your Sunday night's Market Racing here on oNiD Community Racing. We're here with the LMU SimHound 100 Series, round 2 at the Bahrain Endurance Circuit. Good evening, my name's Aidan. Pleasure to be with you. I'm standing in for a certain Thomas Townsend who is a little bit busy tonight and bringing you all the action from is the sort of stranger formation of the Bahrain Circuit. Not one we usually see in F1 or in real life, but yeah, losing a part of the inner and outer circuit for the endurance setup and formation for tonight's race. In the commentary with me, as per usual, Sam. Good evening.
Welcome, Aidan. This is a rarity, isn't it? We don't often get to share a stream together outside of Enduros, so two rarities tonight, not just the weird-looking track, but me and you together in the comms booth. What a treat.
No, yes, in treat indeed. Multi-class racing here, LMP1s and GT3s, if I do recall correctly. I said LMP2s as well. It's been a while since I've done a Sunday. Okay, I can't support me, John. Tom, no, wait, Sam.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's LMP2, it's just the hypercars. Sorry, I was just sorting something out. Yeah, hypercars, GT3s, still some great multi-class racing.
And again, this is very weird for Major Racing's inner part of the circuit. And Matt Holman, thank you very much for subscribing for 35 months in a row, evening stream team, evening Matt Holman. And every now we join the local circuit as things look a little bit more familiar, especially as we recognise us from many F1 races. And a little cut through, it's a little bit different. Just under 3 minutes ago of practice, and we get into the qualifying for this evening with everyone going to try to set their best lap time for what is an hour 30?
Yes, a 100-minute race, I believe. Yes, so an hour and 40. So quite a long one. So there is always that strategy car that the drivers can try and figure out and play when they can. Lots of room on the circuit as well, so I wouldn't worry too much about lapping and pitting, and falling back into traffic. And similarly, unlike a lot of other circuits, they probably don't have to worry too much about lapping hypercars or lapping GT3 cars.
No, exactly. Plenty of space. They can get around each other. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. LMU also featuring throughout oNiD Season 3 and also racing on Wednesdays for the LMU and on a Monday as tomorrow night as well. So do stay tuned for those. I believe Monday's the GT3 Festival and the Wednesday's Academy series handing a hand to those who are new to the sim and hopefully sim racing in general. With the LMP2 and GT3 cars on a Wednesday and GT3s on a Monday. Not just that, we also have a wonderful iRacing and AC leagues on a Tuesday and a Thursday. And on Tuesday will be the JCW Mini Cooper Championship, and on a Thursday is the oNiD 4 Open Wheel Championship taking place on a Thursday night. The fantastic streams we're always wanting to watch in and have your weekly entertainment fix. That's our schedule for the week, and yeah, we're going to round off tonight as well.
Yeah, certainly. Going to be a very interesting race tonight. I'm just looking at the calendar as well. It's probably one of the more technical circuits we'll have to deal with throughout this series. We've got obviously the likes of Kota and Sebring further on in the championship, but this one is going to be a tricky one. They've probably driven Kota and they've probably driven Sebring, so another reason why this would be a different challenge for them tonight. And I wonder as well then, we'll see these bouts of confidence where the drivers enter that typical Bahrain circuit, turn 1, the last corner, turn 4, those kind of corners where they're really familiar with, really strong in the brakes, and then they get into this technical twisty middle section and suddenly that confidence goes out the window. Yeah,
absolutely. It's that little mini section that's going to be very people off. We are very familiar with the part of the outer loop they go on, but they go through a little cut-through section and then rejoins back after turn 4 on the Grand Prix layout per se. So a very interesting way of racing this circuit this evening, but these guys I'm sure will get used to it as just following this the LMP1 hypercar here. I can't remember really if Silver, I believe that is in the caddy. as he goes through this little cut through, and then eventually will now rejoin the main race circuit.
Indeed. As you say, practice is pretty much finishing. We're just waiting for these drivers to end their final laps, get those final tweaks in, get those final kind of braking references dialed in, dialed up, ready for qualifying, ready for the race, where it'll be so critical to deploy again and understand where the limits are. I also wonder, if the drivers are maybe practicing, where they can fuel save while losing the minimal amount of time. Obviously, they've got this time in the practice sessions to deal with it, but they can practice their pit-ins, which they definitely should do. They can practice their pit-outs, which again they probably should do. But coasting and fuel saving, it's been a very interesting topic throughout the other LMU races, because it's so vital to have a great race as qualifying starts.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see, because with such a longer race as well, the 1 hour 40 minutes, they will have to do a pit stop to pit for more fuel. It's just a matter of how they can extend those stints. The tyres will last, but it's going to be a matter of how long they can make that tank of fuel last as well. Qualifying is, however, underway. They're not going to have any of those concerns of saving fuels and tyres. They're going to be going flat out with the lightest amount of fuel possible and not giving a damn about how much rubber they use. As some cars do come to the circuit now, we see a couple of hypercars leave the pit lane and onto the circuit. Zach Silver, as he said previously, just coming out and going out on his outlap now. No tyre warmers for this endurance championship, where they don't use tyre warmers, so you have to have a couple of laps to get the tyres up to temperature, and they'll have to also do that in the race when they can make a pit stop. Those tyres will be like little ice bricks as they are put onto the tyre, and they are all going to be sliding around a little bit before they can get the heat into those tyres. We can see as Zach Silver goes through the middle sector, it looks a little bit sketchy. Give him a few more minutes, those tyres should be up to temperature, but just something to bear in mind, especially those in the race that will inevitably make a pit stop. They'll just have to tippy-toe around ever so slightly.
Yeah, certainly, and obviously no ABS either, unless they choose to run it in the assist, menu if they want. But even with that, they do have to be so cautious on those first couple laps. Build up those braking zones, build up the temperature and the pressure of the tyres, and don't ask too much for it. You don't want to damage the tyre too early either. Particularly, as I say, it takes so long to get those tyres up to temp. You don't want to ruin them, have to restart in the pits, spend another couple laps getting them where you need to be, while everyone else is setting, new laps and replacing you in the qualifying leaderboard.
No, absolutely. I forget how long the lap it is now. We've got both those sections combined. Zach, as we said, going down onto the final sector now. And Zach will be the first one to set a flying lap, or at least start it anyway.
Yeah, it looks like it, yeah. As you can see there, the black dot on the mini-map. There is a private qualifying, as you mentioned, but everyone's on there. So just an idea where it is, I suppose. As Zach prepares then for his first flying lap, has got a couple, technically 2 more corners to go before he can start that. So just changing any modes as he needs to, changing his brake bias, getting all prepared to go out as it's a bit wide actually between the final 2 corners, but it gets on his way now. So let's see what these hypercars are capable of then.
Indeed. Starts his lap down to the first turn. He goes in, looks pretty aggressive, looks to keep it all the way to the left, comes off and goes deep. Maybe those tyres still a little bit too cold for him. He keeps it within track limits, however, still keeps 2 wheels on the tarmac, so I don't think it would invalidate his laps. He's going to keep on going up until turn 3. Turn 4 will soon follow, and you'll be able to see in the top right, you squeeze on the wonderful track map just for reference as to where these cars are. Turn 4 will dart off to the left of 5, and we'll go through the outer loop section. 6, 7 and 8 follow in quick succession. It's going to go right-hander for 9, that goes into this little complex twisty part of the circuit. Very demanding for these cars that rely on downforce and rely on high speeds to push themselves into the tarmac. But looks like Zach so far doing it reasonably well. He goes through that section, goes back onto the usual and familiar GP loop. There's of course in the purple sector for sector 1, one of the first class on the lap, so will be joining the purple unless anyone else can challenge him behind. Purple middle sector, again, first class second lap, so I think the snap will just remain purple until someone else can challenge. Down into the final sector now, it's going to be a couple of corners, very high speed corners. These prototypes should like keeping the minimum speed quite high and using that downforce to push him into the circuit as he goes through the next double right-hander. Will be the penultimate turn of this next right-hander. Got one more straight to go, one more braking zone for the final turn, and he'll be going to the strip and start finish line, set the first flying lap for the hypercars.
Indeed, and obviously will go provisionally pole when he eventually gets there as he leads the way in qualifying on the circuit. 24 corners then, let's see how Zach's done. We might as well mention this, 17.5 degrees on the track, so quite cool at the moment as Zach sets a 2:59, so just under the 2:16 mark. Let's see who's next to cross the line and then see where they go. That's Silver being knocked down to second by Aiden Carter, 2:13.4, and Botolfsson slotting into third. So Carter maybe doing a better job of getting those tyres where they need to be in the Alpine, possibly.
Oh, very much so. So, this is a lot of first-time laps on the board. Liberick, and again, apologies if I butcher these names, on pole as it stands for now. The GC3 cars, however, not yet set lap times. Actually, I say that, we do now see them finally come to start-finish line. It's Beskar and Kozig sets fastest up there. Beskar in second, Fitz getting third. Yards waiting for the rest of the GT3's two-step valid lap times. And looking at the gaps, it's very much a 1 out lap to get those tyres warmed up. It's a very cold circuit this evening. And then hopefully we'll be getting underway for some proper laps once we've been able to get the tyres up to temperature.
Yeah, certainly 9 minutes to go. Plenty of time, and there's plenty of time as well if they do want to reset to the pits and get a fresh set of boots. If they choose to, I'd imagine they're probably avoiding any issues with grading as best they can, being such a low track temperature, as we do see also some drivers struggling in qualifying, just in the yellow tar on the map there. But yeah, Christian Kiesig leads the way. Matt Townsend slotting into second as well in that McLaren, so going strong currently, even with it being so early in qualifying. Carter still second in the hypercar class, but sets a purple sector 1 by 2 and a bit tenths as well. Sets a personal best in sector 2, still has a net gain, so looks to be, even if he goes neutral in the third sector, looks to be stealing pole away from Lieberich there. Let's see what he can do though. Round 22 there.
Absolutely, just one more corner to go. Actually, middle sector's not great. It's a personal best, but the first sector is a very good first sector, 0.2 of a second quicker than the pole sitter at the minute in that Toyota car number 7. As we go down into the final 10, as Aiden Carter does come to line. Will it be improvement into pole position? Second currently, first it is now by just under 0.3 of a second.
Indeed, Angela Scotti moving up to 5th, Bruno Botolfsson moving up to 6th. During that, we see James Cowley resides in 3rd as it stands. Personal best sector 1, overall best sector 2, but looking at those times again, it's about neutral net. Obviously, we don't know what sector 3 is like, but we'll see when he comes through the final couple corners and runs the line. But this is where he needs to get the time in to be able to move up now. He's not done enough so far. Let's see if he's done enough to move up. He's 1.2 seconds in the leader, so he's going to have to do quite a lot to replace it. Yeah, up to second, but only by a couple tenths almost. So improves a second though, so does have some pace in him. Just needs to find a little bit more.
Absolutely. We just see these GT3s actually start and finish their second laps now coming up. No real improvement from the GT3 cars. It does look interesting though, as these cars are relatively well spread out. I'm hoping these times will come back a bit more closer as they start and finish their second laps. Martin Thorpe coming to line the Mustang. P2 actually gets ahead of P2 for Raskar in third in the BMW by a matter of 7 thousandths of a second. Very close margins between second and third at the minute. Very spread out between them all, and we'll just wait and see if it is cold track temperatures, not helping them very much for getting the tyres up to temperature, and I do wonder if that is the reason for the spread of times this evening.
Yeah, possibly. And just a reminder as well, just to clear things up as well, those times on the board there, that's compared to the leader, as Yaroshenko slots up to 11th. Second in class, so great job there. Those times are relative to the leader, so Kiesig, as ever, is alien quick, astonishingly quick. Ignore his time there, and suddenly everyone is incredibly close. You've got, 1.3 seconds behind is Yaroshenko. He sets the benchmark if we ignore Kiesig. 2 and a bit tenths behind that is Thor. Less, as you say, less than 100 there is Baskar behind. And then again, a couple tenths to Townsend as Adel Baskar sets a purple sector 1 just so far. But yeah, Kiesig again, just astonishingly quick, just kind of skews the rest of the times on the board.
Absolutely. So we'll just see how they get on, especially now the qualifying coming a bit more closing the time up now is the qualifying only under well, it's fading tonight, just under 5.5 minutes left. Not much time for these guys to improve now. I suppose that's sooner rather than later, as we see Baskar in 4th was on pole, purple first sector, not by much, and 0.014 quicker than what's been set by the Porsche of Kiesig in 1st position. Middle sector's a little bit down, but a personal best, maybe 1.5 tenths off the pole sitter's time. We'll see if he's improved in the final sector. Coming to the line now, what time will it be for Adel Baskar? No, it is an improvement up to 2nd, but not ideal. But the times for now, it's Kiesig very much best of all of them, and then 1.1 seconds down is 2nd, and a further couple of tenths back to him. So the times now getting a bit more close together for 2nd and downwards, but that lead of the Porsche 91 car is very dominant as it stands. We'll just briefly focus on the hypercars. You see James Cowley in that sort of wingless Peugeot going through this, now going into the middle sector. Actually, it's gone through the cut through and the outer loop section, back onto the GP part of the circuit. First sector's not too bad, 0.1 second down on Carter's time, but is a personal best. So we'll see an improvement if he keeps it going in this way. But the middle sector is 0.2 seconds down. Cowley not finding an improvement on the 2nd sector. He's actually slowing his personal best compared to his previous fastest time in sector 2. Goes down to a few last corners. It's some sweeping high-speed corners that the hypercars, as they would absolutely love. Keeps the minimum speed to as high as possible. Double right-hander on the curb and on exit. Gets the car slowed down once more for the penultimate turn. Puts down the throttle, and he's got one more braking, one more turning, one more acceleration to do before he can hopefully improve his high moments of turn if he does do so. As I said, that middle sector is not looking nice. But it comes through the final turn, uses a suitable amount of curb, and comes to the line. Would it be an improvement up to 1st? It isn't. It's not an improvement, full stop. He has not improved on his fastest lap.
Indeed, as Jacob Heiner just noticed, slots into 10th in that class in the Alpine. Jacob, another driver who's been typically quick, but showing tonight a bit off of his typical game, I must say. Just a tricky track, I suppose. Charlie Morgan also slotting up to 6th, by the way, down up from 9th, I believe. So, 8th. So, good improvement for them as they pull over and I guess end their qualifying session. Let's have a look at Zach Silver. Zach Silver, we saw him early on in qualifying with an okay lap. Improves in the 1st sector, but not really near the pole sitters. Sector 1. Let's see. Onto the main kind of circuit now, heading towards the tricky turn 10, downhill braking, hairpin S corner. So tricky to get right, especially if you're in a pack of cars. And, looks to have it nice and tidy, run all the way out and use as much exit as you can. Carry all the speed onto the kind of back straight, if you like, heading towards turn 20. Uphill left-hander. Again, a bit of a tricky corner. It's a deceptive corner. You can carry a bit more speed than you think, but not too much, obviously. Otherwise, you mess up this next complex. Looks all good and tidy, but is it quick? Again, a personal best in sector 2, but again, a ways off the best. So, definitely not challenging anywhere near the lead, but hopefully he's able to improve and get some positions in qualifying. Let's see. A couple quarters to go then, and then we'll know.
Yep, absolutely. As we said, cold conditions may be tending not to suit many of the drivers here. Again, not having the warm tyres straight out the pits. Looks like to be an improvement in personal best. However, Zach Silver stays in 7th position. It's not going to be enough for him to improve into that top 5.
Indeed, Arthur Blasco here is improving though. Purple sector 1 by almost a 10th as well, so found that out of nowhere it seems, and looking to challenge Keys release try to. Obviously we'll have to find a second somewhere. Not looking like that's going to be possible with his slow middle sector, but at this point I suppose it's just good practice come race. And I'd imagine as well a lot of the drivers also just practicing a pit in, as I said. Crucial to get right, especially with there being a collision in the pit lane, so you obviously want to nail your entry and make sure you're not going to mess anything up and also mess up anyone else's time in the pits.
Yeah, absolutely. That middle sector, it just seems like, especially with the GT3s, Kozik has absolutely nailed it. Ooh, it's being bigger, drifting and spinning. That's not going to work. Clouds the wall for good measure. And that's his qualifying session over for Baskar, who's going to return to the pits and not going to improve. It's going to be 7th for him. Ben Lieberich. Oh, God. These names. And apologies if the butchering is absolutely awful. But Ben, I'm going to say Ben's going to the start-finish line. It's not an improvement, stays in 3rd. I think he was 3rd. I jumped away just as we saw the lap time. Ralph West in GT3 is the final corner. And that Cadillac GT3 gets on the power, get the power down. His time is looking for, and I do think he's going to peel from the pits, and indeed he does. That's going to be I'm not going to improve. Let's just practice a pit stop for the hell of it. Indeed it goes to the pit lane. Any other cars on the lap, he just goes to Alex Parkin. He's going to come to the line. It's going to be 10th position for him. Personal improvement, however, but not enough to break further into that top 10. Now we'll jump to one of the last couple of cars on circuit. I do believe it is this hypercar and 2 LMGT3s still on the lap. Car number 3, however, goes Cowley, purple middle sector. That sector's down, and it's coming through the final 10. Looks neat and tidy. Comes to the line. What's it going to be? 12.406. Looks good enough for second position. Half a second off Aidan Carter. And the only 2 other cars are GT3. The Porsche of Christian Kozik. All purple for Kozik, and Lindblom's not doing too well. But if we go back to Kozik, he was purple. Actually, just waited for a Lindblom finish to come across the line. Indeed he does. I don't think it's going to be an improvement. It stays 12th. What was Kozik doing? Our pole sitter as it stands, but maybe just looking to rub salt into the wound of his competitors. Coming down to the final 10. Nicely turned in onto the throttle, uses just about enough curb. That might just about be valid. Well, it might not be. He's diving into the pit lane. So yeah. 2 purple sectors and potentially mistaking the final sector, either at that final turn or somewhere we just didn't see.
Yeah, obviously would have just extended his lead anyway. Decided, there's no one to steal pole away from. I already have it, so I might as well practice a pit entry, I suppose. As they now wait for the race start. Let's have a look at the starting order then. Here we
Indeed, we shall. Your starting order for round 2. Aidan Carter on pole 2. James Cowley. It is Alpine versus Peugeot. Ben Lachbrecht in 3rd. Angela Scott in 4th. No Ghazali in 5th. And Charlie Morgan in 6th. Zach Silver 7th. Max Savchuk in 8th. 9th, we'll see Runar Bottleson and Jacob Pine round up the top 10 for any hypercars. And we then get on to the GT3s. Kozik takes pole position. Could have been more, but decides not to. Into the second row, Dmitro Yaroshenko and then Martin Thorpe, and 13th and 14th overall. The third row for the GT3 is Ralph Vest, Matt Townsend, it's Caddy and McLaren in the third row, Peter Genlek and Johnny Ashley, Bossman and Admin, because I believe that's always going to end well. Mattis Fuzkin and Alex Parkin on 19th and 20th, Ferrari side by side on that row with Zalecki and Limblum in 21st and 22nd. And then bring up the rear on the final row, 23rd overall, it is Tim Bob in that McLaren.
Indeed.
Now go to the circuit. Cars are now gridding up for a rather short rolling start, actually. Only going through the final turn and getting straight racing straight away. They won't have a lap to warm the tyres up. It's going to be one corner, and then they're just going to get going.
Yeah, we do have a car starting in the pit as well. That's Angela Scotty, for whatever reason. Oh, they've joined us now. Okay. I didn't know if it just they start the pits, but apparently if you, I guess you start the pits by default until you click ready to go. I don't know. You're the racer here. Out of us two LMU.
They do. Indeed, it does give you the full minute or so to click ready to drive, and once all cars are on the grid, it will just run down the clock until we go racing. That's about to happen, and we'll see these guys race for 1 hour 40's worth of racing here at Bahrain Endurance layout as the hypercars now pull away.
Indeed.
So, side by side they go. Under starters orders, the GT3s will give a little bit of a gap to the hypercars, and we'll then shortly see the green flag for will be round 2 of the LMU 100 series. 1 hour 40 worth of racing here this evening on a Sunday night. Cars are going to get to the start finish line. It's green and we are away. Carter Cowley get away well, side by side down the start finish straight. As I believe Carter may have the inside line. He does in the background. GT3's actually got away well. We'll stick with this battle, Hound, for a moment. Up the inside, Liberec. And that's a very deep and late move down to turn way. He's going to lose position, so you have to be careful to rejoin the traffic behind him. But it's Carter Cowley still over Ghazali, Liberec, Scotty, Hind, Morgan, Bottleson, Sugarchuck for the LMP1.
Indeed, as they ran towards turn 4, hoping to get any positions early on that are available to them. So trying to keep out of any trouble. Let's say a little bit of a wiggle there from the Toyota in the background of Leibridge there, trying to keep away and stay hold of P6. Matt Townsend also overtaking Martin Thorpe in the GT field in the background as they snake their way through this middle, or begin the middle technical sector. Apparently there's a few drive-throughs thanks to our spotter in chat as well. Thank you very much. I'll have to wait to see till they serve them as Angela Scotty tries to hold on to P4, tries to attack P4, and similarly in the background we've got Ben Leibridge knocking at the door of Angela and has Jacob Hind behind.
Yep, absolutely. The LMP hypercar, should I say, is the official name, isn't it, for these cars, LMP1, but the hypercars get very well. GT3s, however, as we have a yellow flag, and it is Ghazali briefly round in Peugeot. Looks to have either got it back, spun back the right way around, or was assisted in doing so. Either way, he is now pointing in the right direction and gets going again once more down to P8 out of us, P9 should I say, and that leaves Scotty Liberec, and who's that going wide? That's Scotty going wide.
Let's Leibridge through then, and now Scotty on the back foot, also trying to keep Jacob Hind behind in the Alpine as they get on towards the final corner. Now obviously Jacob Hind planning, needs to get a great run out of the final corner to be able to attack Scotty, and Scotty similarly knows it, so both these guys will be focused on this crucial corner. At this point Ben is out of their minds, he's got it. It's about defending P5 now and getting it away from Scotty. They're Jacob using a lot more of the exit there, whether he chose to or if the guy just drifted out with the amount of speed he's trying to carry in the little bit of slipstream that's provided by these hypercars. Heading towards turn 1, looks at the inside briefly, does Jacob, I think, just filling the mirror more than anything as they get onto the brakes and remain in that order for now. But Ben Leibridge just ahead. Ignore me, that's my time is green. Yeah, funny. Oh, there's Scotty, a bit of an error there coming through turn 2 and 3 there, maybe giving Jacob Hind a sniff of opportunity as they head up towards turn 4 now.
Yes, think better of it for now, as it looks like he's got a keep ahead of Hound. Just putting up the positions, getting lost Silver up. Oh, there's contact! Oh, it's that Jake Pine spinning of his own accord. I think he maybe just got a little bit greedy on the loud pedal. Saves it, however, maybe half a spin, and then gets going once more.
Indeed, and that little tyre damage, obviously you can't pit now. He could do if he wants, but it wouldn't make sense to pit now and change it if he does have any big issues with tyres. So he's going to have to put up with any damage, any flat spots, anything like that. He's just going to have to live with as much as it hurts. Zach Silver, Ben Liebridge attacking each other, going side by side as they head towards turn 10. They get set up before you get into this braking zone, and it looks to have done so. But Zach Silver looking compromised as well from that attack or defence, perhaps. Remains in P3 for now. Battles as well. Let's look at Matthias Fuskin here in the GT3 field. Has Petit Unlake just ahead of him, and he'll be wanting to obviously close up and get something done. Let's go back to these two, because these are fighting all the way through the long left and now right hander up towards turn 22. It's into the inside goes to Tio. It's late on the brakes, but the Cadillac trying to swing around the outside. A bit of contact between them, and now they go side by side, a drag race towards the final corner.
Bit of a squeeze onto the apex there, wasn't it? But we looked to revive and looked to fight another day to go through the final turn. Oh, slight bit of touch unsettles car number 7 as he has a bit of a wiggle and acceleration, but slots behind the car. Zach Silver caddy for now getting past Toyota. They go down to turn 1.
Indeed, these two fighting, letting James Cowley get further and further away. James Cowley himself isn't too far away from Aiden Carter either. He's staying within a second, staying almost within half a second really, is the Peugeot and the Alpine, just controlling the pace up there. But Zach Silver, just battling with Ben Liebridge and just Scotty as well, back in the mix in the background there. You waiting and watching for an opportunity to strike if these two make another little error and slow themselves down even more and their Porsche slip on by.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for the follow, Adam_K1A. Welcome to the race. We're just getting underway for our 1 hour 40 minutes worth of racing here at Bahrain Endurance circuit layout for round 2 of the oNiD racing SimHound Le Mans Ultimate 100 series and the Bahrain Endurance circuit multi-class racing with GT3s and hypercars. So now we'll stick with this battle for 4th. Zach Silver actually creating a little bit of a interesting train here. It's allowed Lobelike and Scotty to catch up, and they're both knocking on his door saying, "Now come on now, I want to get past, can you please make a move or get a move on? You really want to try and get that position from you."
Indeed, as they run up towards turn 20, they'll flash the lights as well.
Flash, I know. And one thing I've noticed, thank you Matt Rose for pointing out, looks like Johnny Ashley has disconnected from this lobby, sadly not getting to the start of the race, and will hopefully be driving. I'm not sure he can actually in the middle of the race, but it looks like he is out and running for this week at the very least.
Yeah, as these two continue to battle, and as Angela gets closer and closer, and I'd imagine almost getting, not that I'd imagine she does, getting a bit frustrated with these two battling, and her just getting slowed down a bit perhaps, and dropping away from Cowley and Carter up further ahead of the road, and you want to get past, you want to get on to fighting whoever you're capable of fighting, but these two battling up ahead as they go into turn 1 yet again onto the brakes. The Cadillac looks a bit stronger there on the brakes, and as they get the power down, obviously up towards running up towards turn 4. There does seem to be a bit of ebb and flow where a couple of drivers, obviously these drivers are obviously stronger in different sections, maybe the cars also maybe stronger in different sections, maybe a bit more confident as well. But as time goes on, I'm sure that will get all ironed out as the drivers know where exactly the limit is, and just pushing that and adding more of a balance, so there's less of a contrast perhaps in strength. But we'll see as Ben Liebridge seems to have pulled a little bit of a gap to Zach Silver, leaving Zach alone with Scotty not far behind at all in that Porsche.
No, he's seen the move down on Zach, and Scotty's like, "Oh, you can do it, and see if I can do it better." They're not too far behind Zach in the slightest, and We'll get a bit of dirty air. I'm sure they'll be feeling it in the car as they follow nearby to Scotty's rear wing. But yeah, very much so. Does it look like Liberec has got that move absolutely done and is away and creating a gap. We're doing right on board here with Scotty. We've got the on-board view as we follow. Oh, that's that going very wide. Very wide off the circuit as well. Oh, a car number 2 all comes out. Oh, it's contact! Apologies, that was actually the Toyota of the Limerick and the car number 7 that was leading that battle, and he goes off and absolutely loses it.
Yeah,
incredible. We're actually on board Zach Silver there, weren't we? Not Scotty, I do stand corrected, and that is going to drop Limerick down the order, down into 8th position at very least, as we go to replay, goes wide, off circuit, decides to go off circuit, use them off, put the throttle down, and car goes no, but not having that, and then just a passenger there for Scotty. Nothing they could have done.
Yeah, terrible there. Really terrible. As again, maybe some damage here for Ben as they pull over and return to the garage there. That's very unfortunate, obviously. Just goes wide. Yeah, it just seems a bit of an odd one, really, because they went wide and it didn't look like they didn't look like they have any issue in the corner. As there's another yellow flag for Zach Silver here. Let's have a look how that happens.
Uh-oh. Issue his own potentially going down to the final turn. Brakes, is it going to be on the throttle and loud pedal off the circuit of society? Indeed, holds the brakes, and is he going to get collected by someone else, or is he just going to inadvertently put it into the wall? Yep, he does, doing a bit of a 3-point turn. And that becomes a 5 and 7-point turn now.
Yeah, tries to get out of the way of everyone, which is fair enough. But then puts it in the wall, unfortunately. Looks to be crabby a little bit as well, maybe struggling with some damage that they're going to have to manage and eventually repair in the pit stop if they choose to. So yeah, a lot of chaos suddenly, and there's still an hour and a half to go in. I can't believe it. James Cowley here, staying within Aiden Carter, getting closer and closer now, the gap. We can see at the bottom of the screen, ever so close, and they're going to be putting the pressure on Aiden non-stop, which is good. Aiden can't just run away with it and relax and feel safe at his leisure and manage his tyres at leisure. He's got James Cowley behind him, who's going to be pressuring him and keeping him on his toes.
Yes, indeed, and I have to be careful one another. Very much. It's a fight for the lead as we just going to pay a bit of attention to the GT3s now, as that's Tim Bob getting past Lindblom, I think that was.
Yeah,
or was that Lindblom making a move on Tim Bob? Yeah,
approaching, and then suddenly they swapped around again. So let's look how that's happened. I think it's going up towards turn, possibly.
Onto the brakes.
Gets onto a bit too late, and avoids any wall of contact, but that's his chance that he will take going, unfortunately. Absolutely
no grip on that red and white curb. This goes sliding basically, and there's a circuit, and then calls it quits, can't make the move, and does rejoin, does continue, but really created skid marks, not just to the tyre kind, as that's a very bad joke, I apologise. As we jump back in a hypercar, as it's bizarrely in Sevchuk. Porsche versus the Peugeot into the final turn. Near to make a move there, not far ahead of these actually, these guys. It was P6, I believe, of Bottleson.
Yeah, indeed, P6. Up 3 places since the start is Bottleson, so good job from them. Obviously, we've seen a couple of issues from some of the other drivers, so that might help explain that a little bit. Oh, as I make a mistake going into turn 1 there, has to catch the slide. Doesn't seem to have caused too much tyres or anything like that, but yeah, that's going to hinder the progress as they drop down to 8th. So yeah, not a great move there.
Not the slightest. That's going to be a bit of a kick in the teeth for them, but I'm sure they'll try to do that again. As Carter and Cowley still nip and tuck. Is pretty much the best the rest as it stands, with Scotty being a good odd 19 or 20 seconds down from this little battle. The gap is that big, they've just broken away, and everyone's been caught in their own little incidents. Battle for the lead, and then everyone else is relatively spread out. Secretary Casala's quite close, 6th and 7th. The GT3s, there's a couple of battles happening. Bob and Lindblom fighting away, and Jonalek and Thorpe also going at it, and sadly we've had 2 DNFs of Limerick and Ashley, one from each class on today's race.
Indeed, and Lim are also getting past Tim Bob as well. So got that job done. Again, a bit of contact there between the hypercars. That was a bit of a strange one as they lap a Ferrari 296 there. Just a bit of a weird one.
Very much so. Bit of a weird bonk. I like that. I can use that more often.
It is quite funny. I do think the sound of the cars in LMU hitting each other is the funniest thing for some reason. It's just a weird bonk as these two fight their way through the long left hand. Now up the hill, going side by side. This could be tricky to get right as they switch to the right hand side now. And this is where it's tricky to get right because there's contact between them. Both of them having issues and spinning around. It's such a loaded corner, a high-speed loaded corner. Going side by side, being kind of off the line it's incredibly tricky to do. Because they race to get back on the circuit again. Yeah.
Racing to get back on, yes. And it is going to be the flash of the lights as well from the Peugeot. That's very much a flash of what the hell are you doing. That's not only had a bit too much of a point there, and we're going to keep on going nonetheless.
Speaking of still going, is James Cowley still on the back door of Aiden Carter, keeping him on his toes as they go. I was going to say through the technical section. They are weaving through a number of corners, yeah, and it's just a long sequence of lefts and rights, and just trying to keep up the pace. There's no room to attack, so you're just trying to keep up with the pace until you get to a nice spot and set something up. As they round turn, it's not 9, is it? Because it's not that other circuit. But anyway, they head towards what usually is turn 10, but is now turn 19 in this layout, which is a bit of a weird thing because turn 10 is just such a dreaded name as well, I think, for that horrible corner.
Is indeed. Bearing in mind what is the infield that we have as well as per this layout. It's got a bit of a throw off, isn't it? Actually, hold on a minute. It isn't turn 10, it's turn 19. As we now see, that's the McLaren of Tim Bob. That GT3 in the middle, and we're now getting to the point where people are starting to lap each other. Just behind Lindblom in 18th as...
Apparently it's a penalty for design they're showing at the top of the screen there, so track limits perhaps, or something like that, I don't know actually. Easily done.
Yeah. Very much so around here. Absolutely. It's a track of, let's dare say, if you do run off, apart from getting the off-track penalty points, there's no real dire consequence for one ride. It's all tarmac, it's all relatively grippy, so if you do have enough, you can eventually get your car back onto the circuit. And maybe drivers pushing it a little bit too far, taking a little bit of liberties, and the game saying, hold on a minute, you can't do that. You've got too many penalty points now. They're stopping you with penalty. Yeah,
exactly. And going to the pit and having an extra penalty is not something you want to get a sack over. Edges his way alongside Bruno Bottelson there as they head towards turn 1. Lots of time yet to get alongside and get past as they head closer towards the braking zone. Porsche versus Cadillac onto the brakes. Now who's bravest? Let's see, maybe is the Porsche going to go too deep? It looks like it, and the Cadillac seems to have got the job done.
Good stuff for Zach Silver down past Bottelson for, is that 6th position? It is 6th. Makes his way up into the higher part of the midfield. Now we're looking at the remaining energy.
This is virtual energy, so not battery. But it seems fairly the same. Sometimes we get a bit of a surprise where, say, Carter might be on 20% or someone's got a lot more than the other, but it seems fairly consistent throughout the field, so maybe no surprises in terms of strategy is concerned.
As far as I'm aware, the GT3s they don't have virtual energy, do they? Like
so they do. Unfortunately, the overlay doesn't show it. So it's a little annoying bug for us. But they do have it, and it's something they have to manage. Actually, maybe if I do this and do a second, we might be able to see it, actually, if I do this one. Yes, so on the right there, the energy bar, you can see a ratio of their remaining energy. Exactly, yep.
Yeah, with you. That NRG is very much still 70%, around about that for this Porsche. Is this the leader by any chance, or I can't quite tell?
Kiesig, yep. leading the way, setting the pace comfortably as ever, to be honest. He has a 5-second gap to Athelbaskar in P2. He themselves has a 1 and a bit second gap to Dmitry Yaroshenko, so fairly settled is the GT3 sharp end of the field for now. But we've seen it before, and not just LMU, in many other series, but anything can happen, and I'm sure you know that, Aiden. Anything can happen all the way to the end, to the final corner. Until you cross that line, the race isn't over.
Yep, absolutely. Anything can happen, and if anything can happen, more likely will happen. But we will wait and see what happens as lapping traffic staying reasonably out of the way for the leading LMP1 or hypercars, that is. They have got a yellow Mustang just ahead of them. Martin thought they'll, I'm sure, move out of the way in the next moment or two to allow these leaders to go through. So I think this first time they're being lapped, I do believe, for leaders. Is taking, what, 20 minutes for the GT leaders to get caught by the hypercars?
Yeah, seems something like that, And it's a 2.5 minute lap for the GT3s, 2.25 lap for the hypercars, so a fairly long lap. So, no surprise it's taking this long. But they will have to do that, let's see, at least 5 more times, 6 more times before the end of the race.
It'll be interesting to see how much of an effect these GT3s will have when they do come to get lapped again. It won't be the last time, I am sure, this evening with an hour and 20 to go. Even though they have to make a pit stop, they'll still encounter the hypercars again, I'm sure. For now, they're doing a good job at just remaining predictable and staying on the racing line, allowing the hypercars to make their way past. Not disturbing their race too much, really, which is always nice to see. Hour 19, or just under an hour 20 to go. It's Carter Cowley, Scotty leading the way for LMP, for hypercars, and it is Kaiser, Blaskar, and Yaroshenko for the top 3 of the LMGT3. Gaps are relatively spread out. We'll keep an eye on those. We'll just jump on board and look at the stats of who's that we're on board with. It is Peter Better Janelek into the main start finish straight. Again, roundabout on par with his usable energy, about 60% or so left, just above halfway. As you can see, he's on the brakes for that turn, gently back on the throttle. This is a slightly like little kink at turn 2.
Here's Martin Thorpe just ahead in that Mustang. 4th position for Petter here, so that's P5 potentially in his sights as he gets onto the brakes for turn 4. Just tries to carry as much speed as possible. Obviously, get the throttle as early as you can, and obviously not too early. It's such a game of balances, even more so at circuits like these where you have to carry high amounts of speed and just be brave with how much you can do that. And understanding how much grip the car has at any one point, because it changes constantly throughout the race. So it's good to stay in tune with that as it gets closer and closer to the Mustang up ahead.
Can't do anything with it at the moment. It's quite interesting part of this circuit. Doesn't tend itself well to making an overtake. You have to wait until they're back onto the inverted commas normal circuit. Indeed they are now. Plenty of opportunities to try and close the gap and make a move, especially up into this turn 19, but can't quite make it work. That Mustang's got in a straight line. There are some corners. It does seem to struggle when the Aston needs to pounce in these corners as and when they can, but yeah, just struggling to get close. The Mustang putting enough gap, and there you go, the Aston actually going a little bit wide there. Able to get back under power, however, but you see that Mustang is just able to stretch its length, getting ever so smaller and smaller in our view until it gets to another corner.
Yeah, it's easy to think as well, get into that mindset, well, I can't overtake in this twisty section, I'll take it easy. But you have to be on your game and have a good amount of pace for that section, so you're ready and closer and setting something up for when you do get the opportunity and you do get closer in, as you say, the normal circuit as hypercars lap these little cars. And maybe again, there's always the opportunity of hypercars mixing things up, and vice versa. If you're lapping GT3 cars as a hypercar, you're going to be slightly slower, and that's going to give other drivers an opportunity.
Yep, absolutely. And it just looks like for now Petr Genelec not able to get close to that Mustang. Surviving is the Mustang with its straight line speed. Just about keeping him ahead.
Indeed, sticking with Martin Thorpe, at least for now. There is Petr Genelec in the Aston Martin. Again, just stick with him, and then maybe come pit stop time, you'll have an opportunity. Maybe you'll be slightly quicker. Maybe you won't be. Let's see. Charlie Morgan also briefly showing as a yellow flag on my screen. So out on his way again now, though, as the yellow flag's being cleared. But another thing as well, we talked about this briefly earlier, is fuel saving. So if you're able to save a bit more fuel but keep up with the driver ahead of you, that means you're going to have a shorter pit stop, which means you're going to be able to overtake them in the pits. And similarly, you have to refill less virtual energy perhaps, and maybe if you're easier on your tyres, at least the GT3s, you won't have to change them all, or as many, or them at all.
Interesting point, and it will be fun to see if anyone is able to do that. Around here, fuel saving, I think it's going to be a little bit difficult, especially with high-speed sections. Where it's really expected to keep your foot into it and maintain that speed.
It's all relative, though. I mean, sure, you're not going to be able to fuel save and go to the end without stopping. A stop's given, but how short can you make that stop? So, maybe just lifting a little bit into turn 4, lifting a little bit more through the twisty sections, up through the long left and then right-hander in the back section there, instead of being flat out and scrubbing across the track and keeping your foot in it, maybe if you lift a bit more, maintain that grip a bit better, use just a little bit less fuel, that adds up across the race, and then when you get to your stop, even if it's a second saved in fuel savings, that's enough to jump a lot of these gaps. James Cowley is within a second of the leader. Petr Genelec, for instance, within a second of Martin Thorpe. There's plenty of cases like that throughout the field.
Absolutely. And the lead battle, I was saying about lead battles, but I'll go down to Yaroshenko and Baskar for second and third. Now less than a second as they're going down onto the final corner. And we'll be getting slipstream. The Ferrari will be from the BMW up ahead of him. Not much of a slipstream, maybe he's be a bit more closer, maybe within 6 tenths of a second or 5 tenths of a second to really feel that benefit. But now he's staying put, but it is ever so slowly closing that gap to the BMW driver.
Indeed he is. Their best laps within 400ths of each other. Incredibly close. They've got equal pace, it seems, to each other. Last lap, pretty much the same, half a tenth difference. So incredibly similar pace at this stage between Yaroshenko and Baskar. But when the tyres are a bit more warm, maybe the fuel's worn off and this car's a bit more unstable, then I suppose we'll see who's able to keep up this pace and keep up that consistency between each other. That's then. This is now. We'll keep an eye on them battling their way on track, mentally battling each other, trying to deal with the hypercar topic as well, because there is a little bit of a knack to it. I'm sure Aidan, with being predictable and letting the hypercars through and saving yourself as much time as you can.
You don't want to. It's a difficult one. You want to keep up your pace, but you've got to adhere to blue flags. When these fast cars do come to lap you, it's an interesting one to skip in. But let them through. We don't want to compromise your lap or your time trying to get the car up ahead. It's not only a battle of on-track position, it's also a battle of who can most efficiently let pass the faster cars without losing the time to the car up ahead. So if you can do it, say you lose 2 tenths and the car ahead loses 5 tenths by letting the start car through, you want to close that gap pretty drastically.
Indeed, we get to watch this pretty little Porsche drive around and follow. I say drive around, race. They're not just driving around. Race around this circuit in the mirror of the McLaren, who slides his way through that corner there incredibly quickly through turn 11, perhaps that was, through the wiggly stuff here, just trying to keep the Porsche behind at bay, trying to get through it as quick as they can. Looks like there's a bit of a tail-happy McLaren ahead, which is different. Usually it's the Porsche who's wiggling about the place. But just seems like he's put the pressure on. Almost looked like he was going to slip down the inside there somehow on the McLaren, but pulling the pressure on clearly as they head up towards turn 90, which is 10-10 as far as I'm concerned. Onto the brakes now, tricky corner. Open up as much as you can, but obviously don't go too wide on the power, down the back straight towards the left-hander further ahead. There's a yellow flag briefly for Zach Silver, who had a moment somewhere. I didn't quite catch where that was, but these two just sticking with each other, getting closer and closer. And Lindblom, with the knowledge that the McLaren has been sliding all over the place, even if he doesn't attack him now, his tyres, there's going to be a difference in the tyre quality between those two cars. And eventually that Porsche difference will be so great then it won't be hard at all to get past. But definitely is keeping the pressure on. We've also got Tim Bob further behind, right on the back of Routefest there as they head towards the second to last corner.
Back one's at P9 as well.
That's Alex Parkin, yeah, it's P12 in class.
P12, should I say. A three-way battle for what is 10th position. Best train, ever so slightly forward.
Indeed.
So far, it looks like Tim's got a poor run out of that final 10. It's giving Alex Parkin a reason maybe to... it's not going to be close enough for turn right. It's going to be an absolute dive bomb if he thinks about going from there. He's gets onto the brake, closes the gap suitably without rear-ending him in the braking zone, and we'll try and get that passing up into turn 3-4 potentially. That's a half-decent run actually, not that far behind. He's tucked into the slipstream, but I don't think it's going to quite be a move into this right-hander for turn 4. We'll go up to a replay actually, as we see who's this? Is this Tim Bob again with it's Lindblom.
So McLaren deep potentially gives the Porsche a run after coming up turn 4 side by side through towards just keeps his foot, it keeps the grip excellently.
Yeah, I applaud that.
Yeah. Oh, and that's just a bit for a moment there.
For a moment, it looked like a Porsche turned into a motorbike and going up onto two wheels. But yes, it's a bit of a lag moment. Thankfully, nothing comes of it. But they do both continue. Tim Bob and Alex
Parkin slips on by, hasn't he, while we were watching that replay?
Yeah, he has. Hasn't done made some move on Tim Bob, and is now going to go on the hunt for P10, which is cool now. It was Caddy, wasn't it? Of West, yeah.
It was indeed. Yeah, as the hypercars again make their way. Oh, and a bit of a ribbon there from the hypercar in the background. And actually, that's James Cowley and Aidan Carter. Aidan Carter feeling the pressure coming out of quite quick turn 10 there, while slapping the GT3s, giving James Cowley the best chance he's had all race so far. And yeah, there's more GT3s to come yet.
Absolutely nearing, edging closer to the halfway mark of this race. There are 20 minutes before we see that, actually, in fairness. But at this point, you kind of think to yourself, right, 20 minutes, let's be organised. What am I going to do for my pit stop? I'm going to have to pit around halfway, we know that. The hypercars can go deep into the race, and it's just a matter of if they short field, they put their virtual air due to the half usage. Is it going to be a bit of a lighter car? They plan for a second stop, or if they just tank and go, I'm going to go deep as I can and then just try and work out how much I feel I need to finish the race.
Yeah, exactly, and make sure they put their virtual energy top up, bang on, and not putting in more than they need to, and stopping longer than they need to. As we talked about, especially these two, so close together. Make one little mistake on your pit request, and you'll find yourself swapping orders.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what they can do. They're looking okay so far, keeping each other honest and setting some really good lap times actually, and breaking away from Scotty in third. 36 seconds down the road, that is something.
Yeah, it certainly is. Once again, they continue to lap those GT3 cars. Getting closer and closer. Petit Elnack as well, in another battle, this time a three-way of sorts really. He's got Martin Thorpe in the Mustang, still ahead of him obviously. Now he's joined by Matthias Fisken in the background there in the red Ferrari.
Interesting. making up some ground. Lap time doesn't look too bad. It's not improvement, but it is enabling him to catch up with this battle. That Aston looking a bit vulnerable on the straight, not potentially having a straight line as the two cars around him, that Ferrari and Mustang, potentially a bit more slippier through the air going down in a straight line. Just training times at the minute, aren't they, really? They're just fine. I think just you're putting a bit of pressure at each other. Maybe the trademarks mind pumped, as some of our admins would say. There's always an actual real life pump there, a bit of a boink between them as they go into turn one. The Ferrari gets out of it, brakes, but doesn't hit the rear end of the Aston, but is actually able to keep quite close to it as they go down into, well, up actually, it's all uphill into turn 4.
Yeah, indeed, sticking with the Aston Martin again, who's dropped off a little bit of Martin Thorpe, but he's still there, lingering just within touching distance, but who literally is in touching distance is the Ferrari of Matthias Hüsken there, almost pushing Petty there through turn 4 and 5 as they get towards the twisty stuff. And we'll have to just wait to be patient as soon as they get to this section, because there's no room whatsoever for an opportunity, and certainly no margin for error with the way it swings left and right through a Italian job style through this twisty section here. Mustang leads the way between this and sets the pace. Knows just to break away and get a good little bit of space before the back straight, otherwise he might become vulnerable after turn 19. Ferrari again just pushing Petty Jelinek as they enter the first hairpin S before the downhill one. Mustang has put out that gap that he needed. Just sticking. I think almost again coming together.
We need to be careful of one another, and it looks like Ferrari's actually got a half decent run coming out of turn 20, was that the downhill left-hander? On
turn
board
19,
with Ferrari, turn 19, yeah, on board, and Ferrari thinks about making a move up into turn 20. Looks better of it, although the Aston goes deep, so we'll give the Ferrari a bit of a reason to try and hug the inside line, get the switcheroo. There's no able to get it. Aston goes slightly wide onto the brakes into penultimate turn. Okay, Ferrari and a very big closing, so he's almost contact. As Ferrari potentially is a little bit caught out of the poor exit the Aston got. It's only up the inside. I think it's going to be Petr and rated to 7th, or is it holds the outside line into the final turn? They're still side by side on the power they go. And if Ferrari gets a little bit wiggly on exit, it costs them a little bit of momentum. And they are still practically level going down the start finish straight.
Indeed, side by side, heading towards turn 1. Just a battle of who's going to be braver in the brakes this, but obviously Ferrari on the inside will have to take a bit of a different approach to this corner. Gets onto the brakes slightly later than Petr Jelinek, and somehow gets it covered off without the Aston Martin sweeping around as they cut through turn 2 and turn 3, obviously up towards turn 4. So a great little battle there, and obviously all the while the Mustang of Martin Thorpe watching this in his mirror, loving every second of it, because it means his gap grows bigger and bigger by the second.
Yep, Mustang please go bye, see you later. A good move there. There's a harsh but fair battle between those two drivers.
Yeah, it all started about here, and finished, under a lap. Yeah, great stuff there. We'll see what just behind these guys. Obviously, James Cowley and Aidan Carter. So some more traffic they'll have to get past, and another opportunity for James to get something done, or at least close the gap to the Alpine ahead of him, as Max Savchuk has an issue. That's outside of quote turn 10. There gets going again, luckily, before any cars arrive and make the situation any worse.
He does. I'm not sure how he managed to do that, maybe on his own. I'm not sure if we've got a replay, but I believe that is Yeah, watch the replay. Go on, let's see what happened. See how he did that. I reckon it was all by himself, unfortunately. Onto the exit curb, goes deep actually, and decides to get on the power. And we've seen that before actually. Someone is the same driver, same place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, these drivers. The funny thing is, as we go back to live, and he's had another issue, which we are definitely going to watch back. But yeah, a lot of drivers succumbing to the. There's a netcode has an issue.
This netcode's a lag.
that was earlier on. Let's watch as it goes around.
Too much right there.
Yeah, again, this is just proving my point even more. It's 70 degrees track tap. That's on the circuit. Off the circuit, where there's no grip anywhere usually, you know, they just expect it to be the same grip, I suppose, as on track. Obviously, it's not, and they're learning that a really hard way.
Indeed they are, but they'll figure it out, and you know, they're making these mistakes. I hope we learn from them. With just over an hour left, I've got another yellow flag, but that was then very promptly removed when I said that. I think it was it Yaroshenko having a bit of a moment?
It might have also been Alex, which I've got a replay for him. So let's have a look. Maybe it was Alex, if they've got a replay in my log. But let's have a little look. Yes, going towards turn 19 downhill on the brakes. Loses the rear, slides, and gets going again. Avoids any wall at least.
That car is not made for drifting, it's made for racing, but they somehow find a way to prove us wrong. As the leaders now getting caught up with a GT3 Ferrari as they promptly move out of the way. And Beckman Fettel's car 86, Yaroshenko in third. So third place GT3 getting well out of the way, and the leaders are free to resume fighting, although the gap, because of that, has opened to about 1.7 seconds. It was about 0.3 of a second between the two following Millicent's help, and again we stopped that traffic, proving that even though they are moved to move out of the way as soon as possible, it still hurts them when they can't make a move. In chat, General Stop, what's going on? How is Charlie in P5? Charlie was in P5, doing very well. Very well, Scrub. There's only 6 hypercars taking the week off. We actually have 9, we did have 10 this week starting. One of them had to DNF because of an incident that they had too much damage and couldn't make it back to the pit lane, so they've sadly lost the opportunity to continue. And we also had DNF from Johnny Ashley in GT3 as well, sadly not taken to the start line or being able to rejoin the race. We have just passed the hour mark, however, 59 minutes and 47 to go. Only about 9 minutes until halfway into the race, and we will be able to take a look at where we are. And also, in particular, watch out for those pesky pit stops that the drivers will not inadvertently, but undoubtedly have to make. We'll see how that will be able to fuel save, energy save, if they've been able to do so at all, and we'll potentially be able to see if that shakes up the order.
Certainly, I mentioned earlier on as well, by the way, Jacob Hine, reflecting now actually, in the Alpine there, having a poor qualified P10 in the hypercar class, up to 4th now, you know, after 40 minutes, so incredible job, up 6 places, the best gainer in the hypercar field, so clearly when it comes to the race, that's where their strength lies.
Yeah, absolutely, loving that Alpine. You can tell he's there's some really good laps. Car third, spoken for 4th. 5 seconds to Scotty Howell in 3rd, but this is pretty much the best of the rest. It's Scotty at the moment because the battle between Cowley and Carter has been gaining and closing, going in and out like a yo-yo. At the minute it stands at 1.3, 1.2 seconds. I have seen that as close as 0.3 or 0.4 of a second. Was nose to tail, but I think some traffic just cut that battle short a little bit, but I think they're going to be close up to one another very shortly. This is Mattis Frisgren following Michael Thorpe, only half second between these two chaps. 6th and 5th, Thorpe in that Mustang. We said this before when the Aston behind these two cars who got overtaken by Frisgren and the Ferrari. Mustang has fantastic straight line speed in the corners, it's not so great, but give it a chance to stretch its legs. It actively pulls, it actively opens the gap between some of these other GT3 cars.
Yeah, it certainly does.
And now that's right, that's about to Ferrari for now. As Peter points, the good news is able to close the gap. You see he puts the power down, has a bit of a wiggle on the exit curb as they put down the right foot. That those Martin Thorpe for at least another couple of corners. Thankfully, after these fast corners, there's a couple of straights that the Mustang can just put his foot through for and try and pull a gap. Ferrari staying relatively close and filling up his wing mirrors of that scarlet red.
Yeah, there's a brief look there for a moment as Ferrari slides their way through the second last corner, it appears. But yeah, you're certainly right. The Ferrari twisty technical stuff that's right in the back of the Mustang. And then it gets these straights, the Mustang just grows that gap. And it all kind of repeats itself. Barring any other battles that interfere with this, it seems to be the way to go. As a Porsche hypercar comes on by, great looking car. I think the Porsche hypercar is one of my favourites. That is for sure. As they head down the start-finish straight, onto another lap.
Indeed. Thank you very much for the follow, by the way. This weather. Thank you very much for your follow. Welcome to oNiD Racing for the second round of the LMU 100 series. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you. Can one of us cast the curse? Our commentator cursed Charlie for us. Charlie Morgan, where is he?
He's right here on the screen.
Right here on the screen. Charlie Morgan is doing well. Charlie Morgan, say his name, try and curse him into a mistake. Charlie Morgan, no. Sorry, it's not going to work. General Scrub.
There you go. Flash the lights as well. Great
Flash
stuff.
the lights too.
Yep.
He's listening.
Yeah, he is. Ralph Best, though, onto the back, almost side by side, in fact, with Dave Zaleka still in the red McLaren up at these two fighting. And it's going to be an interesting phase, I think, in the later side of the race, where you've got these little cars fighting together and having their battles and sliding about the place, trying to get past. And then you've got some cars who are kind of in their own little pace, in their own little section. Yaрошенko, for instance, Baskar, Alex Parkin maybe, come later side of the race where they haven't been scrubbing those tyres so much and really pushing them. Maybe we'll see them, again there, Ralph's just sliding the Corvette through turn 2 there in turn 3. But yeah, later in the race where those guys have got a bit more life in their tyres and able to push a bit more in the second half of the race, I'd imagine. Yeah,
absolutely. And let's not forget, these guys will have to put the can't do an hour 40 and 1 tank of retro energy, or let alone 1 tank of actual fuel. There's a yellow flag, however. That is
Max
Bottleson. Check again.
Yes. And there's another one for Limblom, actually, which we'll watch after this.
Okay, let's see what's happened here. On his own, is that too much on the right foot? I think it might be onto the curb. Puts the power down and goes, nope. Don't like doing that. Back to later. Let's see if we can get the Limbloms, yes. Let's see what's happened with Daniel. He, again, on his own. Through the middle sector. There's wide here. Nope, we haven't missed it.
Loops it with the gas pedal there and hovers off into space. Yeah. I think that's when I go into replays and then watch another replay. That when I was in a replay, if that makes sense. That's what that causes. That I think.
Oh yeah.
If that made any sense. What does make sense is Matthias Fuskin wanting P5 and Martin Thorpe not giving it to him.
How rude. The Aston behind, however, isn't giving up, still within some form of touching distance. He's got front row seats to this battle here between Thorpe and Fuskin. Ferrari making use of its ability to corner better than the Mustang, as it was just proved as a slide by that yellow and black. And the Mustang there, car 44. And then that Ferrari closes, can't do anything with it. Mustang puts the power down all the way, so it'll just about keep ahead.
Yeah, certainly is. Was briefly challenging the Mustang, entering the twisty stuff, but had a bit of a wiggle as he tried to take a tighter line instead. Unfortunately, dropping off a little bit, but just keeping up with him as there's a yellow flag for possibly Jacob Hyde. Let's have a look and see if he's in the situation. We'll ignore that. But yeah, Martin Thorpe still chasing down, defending from tyres, Fuskin. And he's going to be thinking as well, as you said, his pit stop's coming up soon. As they go almost alongside there, and they've got to let a hypercar through as well. Luckily, they've got lots of space to do it here. They've got a pit stop to consider as well, so they're going to have some semblance of space between them. You know, if Martin Thorpe wanted to dash into the pits right now, and Matthias wants to follow him, that's not very much margin to get in the braking point right, as Martin Thorpe goes a bit wide entering up the uphill section here, flick to the right, and the Ferrari is practically pushing him through the corner, tries to hold on to that title line in the dirty air, does the Ferrari, a bit of a wiggle, catches it luckily, and no harm done so far, but just the tyres feeling a bit more, and again slides through that other corner as he's so close to the Mustang, just upsetting the air and just making the job harder for the Ferrari as they head towards the final corner. But yeah, I wonder how long they're going to leave it to pit, and I wonder who's going to blink first as well. At this point, I'm not surprised the Ferrari isn't darting in, get the undercut done, and get the job done that way.
I am surprised as well, to be perfectly honest, but see how that all plays out. Maybe waiting for one of them to blink first before they do anything, as Selecki and left, anything from 18th or ET3. I think that's a Porsche, just up ahead of him for position as well, which is Lindblom.
Indeed, yeah.
Coming back with a relay fight, depending if that Macca can get close to the Porsche and Nickelback can keep up with him as well. So that'll be a nice little battle to keep an eye on. Now, just about the good place in circuit is to say, you know, we're not too far from each other, not too close. We have our first pit stop, however. Zach Silver, car number 3, hypercar, elects to come into the pit. Pretty much bang on the halfway mark of Stevens' race.
Indeed, stops for 43 seconds so far. Obviously, we've got no reference if that's long or short because we don't know who else has stopped. But we'll have to wait and see as these two continue to fight, getting closer and closer. Almost a bit of a nudge there as well from the Ferrari onto the Mustang. So again, they get down here onto the brakes into the hairpin corner here. Just get it right and stick with the Mustang ahead. And hopefully you can set something. It's a bit of a tricky one as well when you go down here onto the brakes for the next hairpin, this turn, what is now turn 19. Because you don't want to be too close. Oh my goodness, too close. Because you want to nail the corner, but at the same time you want to be close enough so you can get a good run and be in a position to attack straight away onto the straight here. Into the slipstream is the Ferrari and the Mustang. But the next left-hander as well. It's a long, medium speed really, left-hander. It's not something you could dart onto the brakes onto the inside to get the job done.
No, exactly. And again, we say that the Ferrari at this point in the race should very much be quicker than the Mustang in the corners. Can't do anything about it. Thinks about putting a nose up the inside. Mustang says absolutely not. I'm taking this corner even though I maybe saw through it. You're not getting past me right now.
No, at least not yet anyway, as there's some blue flag showing obviously for the Porsche hypercar in the back. There's a yellow flag as well for Alex Parkin, who stopped. Oh, and bonks into the wall as well, just entering the twisty stuff, unfortunately.
Gets the rejoin done. Okay-ish. There's nothing coming, so we have the time and space to just briefly reverse it onto the circuit. We have had another DNF. Kazali, the car 93, just noticed, retiring from the race, sadly. However, now has some pit stops. It is Fusken into the pit, shoots his pit box ever so slightly. And Yaroshenko, or is that Yaroshenko in the pits as well, both at the same time? And that were the pit stops. Mathis Fusken had to be wheeled back a little bit into his pit box. I don't know if Dimitro had the same issue. Just keep an eye on this little, because this is for possession, we'll keep an eye on this little pit stop pass. So after that goes Yaroshenko, or where's Fusken? Still in his box, and that's a change of position.
I think Yaroshenko was further up than Fusken. Fusken was battling Martin Thor, who stays out on track. Certainly it will be, I think down the line will be certainly interesting. Matthias Fusken, by the way, stopped 2 seconds less than Yaroshenko, so that's 2 seconds gained. And actually, looking at how long they spent in the pits overall, as Yaroshenko tries to get going again, It's 2 seconds saved as well. So Matthias Fuskian 2 seconds quicker or gained against Yaroshenko after that pit stop. So little things like that, they'll add it up, later on in the race when they get closer together. And that's 2 seconds. They haven't had to be quicker than on a lap.
Absolutely. So that is pit stops done for those drivers. Still got a fair few more people to do a pit stop. And we're saying that's a lucky to do so as well. And Lindblom, both cars in the pits at the same time. Again, staying fighting for positions here as well. So it's going to be another battle of who's going to be in the pit box the longest.
Dude, these two, you're right, these are positions. Let's watch then. Lindblom's been here for 7 seconds longer in the pits, so obviously came in first, I guess then. That's like he gets out in front of him with a 40-second stop, which is the quickest stop in the GT3 field, and actually include the one in the hypercars also. It's the quickest stop overall so far was done by Selecki. So maybe getting that calculation done a bit better, maybe fuel saving, we don't know, maybe the others had some damage they needed to repair. Possibly. Daniel Lindblom stopped for 48 seconds, which is quicker than obviously Yaroshenko and Fuskian, but about the same really if you look at what the average is. So yes, Selecki there with a mega stop, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to help him, and indeed has helped him in that position. We're going to jump back to Vest and Yaroshenko, who both cars are again fighting a race. Vest pitted, and I think he has.
Yes.
If I recall correctly.
No, sorry, he hasn't. Sorry.
He hasn't, so this battle is a bit null and void until Ralph West goes into the pit. So Yaroshenko, for all intents and purposes, has a bit of clean air as soon as that car ahead of him dives to the pit. However, it is in the pit. It's Kozig, and Martin Thorpe as well is in the pits as well.
Yes, he stops. Now this will be interesting because we've got obviously I forgot completely who was battling Martin Thorpe. The Ferrari of Matthias Fuskian, that's it, sorry. Martin Fuskian, that's who was battling Martin Thorpe, right?
I believe so.
Stopped for 49 seconds. Martin Thorpe stopped for 48.5 seconds. So really, really close. No times gained or lost then, really.
No, not at all. You have a yellow flag for someone. I think that just cleared itself. Here's Jacob Quine coming from P3. And Scotty also in the pit as well. I think Scotty already was in the pit box when Jacob Quine came in. So I do wonder if Scotty's just going to withhold that lead they had over them as they're in the pits. The leaders, however, Cowley has pitted. There's a gap of 80 odd seconds. I don't think Carter's stopped yet.
No, he hasn't. And Alex Parky, by the way, we saw him have an incident. Must have had some damage that he needed to sort out because he stopped for almost 2 minutes, really, which is a minute longer than obviously everyone else has. So really unfortunate for them. Is right at the back now of the GT3 field as Angelo Scotti leaves a bit. That fantastic looking Porsche. You can't tell me I'm wrong.
I'll allow it. Yes, it is a very good looking Porsche, I must admit. For most of these drivers who have made a pit stop, regardless of what they pit stop for, their tyres will be cold. So careful outlaps is the name of the game as they've done their pit stops. Even if they haven't changed tyres, the tyres they would have had would have lost temperature. So they've got to be careful as they come out of pit lane, get the laps back under the belt, as tyres back up to temperature most notably. And hopefully we won't soon have any unfortunate and untimed spins or crashes because of it. Second, third, Lascar and Townsend of the GT3s in the pits. Carter has now come into the pit box, and Cowley, you can see the time ticking down. I don't think it's going to be close enough for him to make a move. Carter is still in the pits. The gap goes him down 25, 24, 23 as we say that. Aiden is about to leave their pit box.
This will be interesting. Aiden stopped slightly longer than James Cowley. So let's see what that gap looks like when they're on track. This is James Cowley coming through the final corner now, getting past a bit of GT3 traffic. Yes, that could be crucial as Aiden comes out of the pits slowly.
Oh, that's night and day.
Yeah.
Cowley will be on warm tyres, however. And Carter will not. And you can tell Carter's going wide in some of these corners, and look at Cowley. Keep it neat and tidy.
Indeed, and what's even more crucial is we can see on the track a couple more GT3s they're going to have to clear, and with the warmer tyres, maybe James Cowley will have the ability to do that a lot quicker and a lot easier than Aiden Carter, and that might bring the gap right down.
I want to find out. Gap's 1.6, 1.3, 1.1. So there's a yellow flag for someone.
So Alex parking at the last corner, we can see.
Oh, see it on the map, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think he gets going once more, and really does. Even on this battle, as Aiden Carter's tyres will be slowly coming up to temperature now. And has Aiden dodged a bullet here?
Comes the GT3 traffic, and here comes James Cowley, so close now to Aiden Carter as they approach a crucial corner at a crucial section of the track as well. Lots of straight after this, so if he can get a nice run here and take advantage of the GT3s, he will have the lead of the race with the warmer tyres as well in the slipstream of the Alpine hypercar heading towards turn 20.
Not enough.
Let's see if we go on board as well with James then.
He's closing the gap, can't go into with it. It's now a little bit too late. Those tyres on the Alpine will now come up to temperature. But it's so close, within touching distance of getting the lead. Get a good run out this final turn. He may have a potential move into turn 1. However, darting to the inside line is not going to help his score. That might actually compromise him a little bit. But tucked into the wing. Oh, Aiden gets into the grass ever so slightly.
Here as they head towards turn 1, tries to defend as Aiden Carter out of the inside. That might just compromise him even more. Let's flick to the outside and have a look what's going on. Then maybe James can get the cut back towards turn 2, turn 3. Does Aiden have it covered off in the Alpine? Doesn't look like it.
Outside.
Indeed, swoops around the outside after Aiden being compromised by his defence into turn 1, leaves him vulnerable through turn 2, and James Cowley takes the lead of the race and up to turn 4. And I don't think Aiden's able to counterattack at this stage either.
That is a change for the lead. Carter looking to carry on that P1 lead, but for now has to concede to Cowley.
This is a familiar sight. Martin Thorpe then in front of the Fred Ferrari of Matthias Fiskin. Post pit stop, indeed. Pit stops haven't shaken this up as much as I thought they had, but half a second is the gap between these two now. I'd imagine they're on a similar strategy with a similar amount of fuel. Both those drivers, not changing tyres, I'm imagining, based on the stop time. Just keeping each other in check, keeping the pressure on the Mustang here. And I said earlier, Peter Yellock as well, not far really in the background there. If these two ever coming together or get slowed down, Peter's right up in there for a three-way.
Yep, absolutely. We'll see what Peters can do. He's not too far behind.
Here's something we missed as well, sorry. Christian Kiesig is P2 in the GT3 class, was P1 before the pit stops, but had a 6 second slower stop than Athol Baskar.
Lead. Interesting. That's contend with traffic. And that is Carter and the Peugeot of Cowley.
Yes.
Going past these GT3 leaders. Yeah, very right. Carter losing that lead position through the pit stops. Still on the tail of the BM. The BM is notorious for its top-end high speed, so it's going to be able to actually use out a little bit of the gap going down the main straight to the Porsche behind. Again, it's a case of when it gets to the corners, the Porsche should have the advantage, but What can we do in the corners?
No, that's a very good question, but we've seen Kisik be astonishingly fast in the lead of a race. Let's see him now battle and try and get that lead back, and see what he can do with that Porsche. Obviously on a hot lap, fantastically quick. When he leads the race, fantastically quick, but now he's actually got to fight and get past someone. Let's see what that's like. That's not something we see very often, actually. Is we have another battle. We have so many battles at the same time suddenly. We've got Dave Selecki and Daniel Lindblom further down the field for P8 and P9. Matthias Fiskin, as we saw, and Martin Thorpe for P5 and 6. Yaroshenko, Townsend together, these two together. And obviously the leaders of the hypercar class also battling away on their own through the twisty section. These two as well stuck together. Kisik wants the lead back of the race, obviously. Baskar doesn't want to give it up. Baskar's another driver we've seen be pretty quick as well, as the Porsche looks left, right, left, wiggling all over the place as they get onto the brakes there, trying to find a way to get it done and get it stopped as well.
Its bigger sister in the LMP hypercar now wanting to also get past them both. This battle for the leads after Porsche and Rover's willing to allow that 99 car to go through.
Yeah, that's Bottleson, I believe. Yes, it is. Has to respect that battle. At the end of the day, Bottleson's 50 seconds off of Zach Silver, and really these two are... I know there's a blue flag situation typically, but just be patient and let this unfold. I say,
absolutely.
Head towards that left-hander uphill corner. Sorry.
And at least that's the hypercar through. This seems battle to GT3, but the battle for Thorpe and Fuskin again heating up. Ferrari trying to make a move down into turn 10, or old turn 10, that's to turn 19, shall I say.
Indeed, under the wing of the Mustang yet again, a familiar sight as they can head towards the corner we were at moments ago. Onto the brakes now. And again, just got to be patient here. Unless you have a mega run, there's nothing you can do in terms of attacking. Just keep up with your opponent and maybe get a nice run out the second to last corner, and then again out the last corner. As the Ferrari just sticks with the Mustang. They just have such a similar pace as well. It's going to go right to the end, I'm sure. Even if the Ferrari gets past, the Mustang will be counter-attacking, I am sure, as they head towards the last corner then.
Close enough to send up the inside. It's not a great corner to make a move, even if you do have a run. The preference is that first turn where you're on the brakes so hard you can get the braking zone right. You can make a move up the inside, but now it's staying put as it stands. So you now see the battle for... Oh, there we go, back with the battle of the GT3. If they are going to go down to start and finish, it's not going to be close enough for the Ferrari, and there's a Porsche in the background. Also wanted to get past it at Scotty in third position. Saying, I appreciate you guys are fighting for the lead, but please, can I come past? Let me pass, please. Move. I don't think those GPCs have much of an option, to be perfectly honest. The sheer power and the downforce of that Porsche being able just to hug the inside of the corner and get past them both.
Yeah, exactly. Incredible stuff there as Scotty gets on their way. And actually, there's some battling going on for the lead of the race. Sorry, we just completely missed that. James Cowley, Aidan Carter. Let's have a quick little replay because they did actually swap positions briefly.
Oh. Have a look and see what that was about.
So
Aidan's got back ahead.
Let's go back a bit more, shall we? Okay, here we go. Aidan behind in the... and sorry, the Peugeot just goes wide and actually tags him.
Aidan's able to soak it up, and that's how they got the lead back. This unforced error there from Cowley the Peugeot.
Indeed, and obviously James Cowley retook the lead, I'm guessing, at turn 20, the long left-hander up the hill.
Let's stay put this
Sorry?
Let's stay put and stay put and see what happens. But we'll go down into turn 19. It's this little bit of a straight. What's happened to Aidan? He doesn't go deep on exit there, but gives the place back.
Interesting.
A sign of sportsmanship there, and that allowing Peugeot space back. But I It just looked like a racing instant to me.
Yeah, it was a weird. I wonder why. Obviously, maybe they saw something different at their angle or perceived it differently. Certainly, it looked like an error from Cowley and a quick rejoin with some contact as well. Things I'm really surprised that they didn't get back. But either way, they can continue to battle, and they do so. And that's great to watch. As Matasius also continues to battle against none other than Martin Thorpe. No surprises here.
And that Mustang is just pulling and keeping ahead as I'm going to make a move up the inside here. There's another yellow flag.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to see on the Suffolk again. I'm not entirely sure what that is actually. Well, it's gone clear now, so whatever's happened, he's been able to gather back up and get back going again. Bahrain are closer to the Mustang it's ever been really on this race. That Ferrari I don't think will get past. I think General Scrub in chat actually confirmed my point. That Mustang is just so dominant in a straight line. It can hold off the Ferrari, and in the corners, it's just so big. If you can defend well, it's a big bulky car to try and get past.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. Also Chris Keesing as well. Obviously, he's trying to get past another big car, BMW this time though, as he has a little moment coming out of turn 19, and the Porsche straight away onto the rear of the BMW in the slipstream. Obviously, just waiting for his opportunity. It's a circuit where there isn't really a here's where you overtake someone, or here's the best. You're kind of just on your toes waiting for a mistake from the driver ahead for the most part.
Yeah, this Ferrari will pretty much have to make a send. There's half hour to go, not at that point yet, but that's what really my mind. The Ferrari needs to send it into the corner, maybe get down to turn 1, needs a perfect run to be able to send it to turn 1, yeah, pretty much. And it's just how brave he can be on the brakes, that's the only thing. As we have that's Wattleson, or is it Savchuk?
Savchuk, yes. Recovers now, just onto the twisted stuff again, yeah.
There's a middle sector on that transition, isn't it, between the two circuits?
Yeah, and obviously if he's had a lock-up and his tyres are flat spotted, it's going to make it ever so easy to do again and again.
It's going to be absolutely painful. Those round tyres that we wave around, as a good friend of mine said today, as we were in Discord talking about racing in Formula 1, turning tyres into 50 pence piece, they slowly become quite hard to handle.
Yes, I imagine so. These two sticking together then, right to the end, or at least right to the last 30 minutes of the race. Again, going down towards turn 1. There's just that gap the Mustang's able to build that just helps him out, and it's enough of a gap that the Ferrari does even they can't even attack. The gap is so big, the Mustang knows it. Don't even bother attacking. You're too far away, and it's going to be like that way again and again.
On the brakes, it closes so well though. I reckon he just needs to get a little bit closer. Maybe be a little bit later in the race, do a Danny Rick kind of move, late on the brakes, late in the day, get the move up the inside, force the issue, and just hope the car compromises, because it's the only the other car compromises and plays ball, because it's the only way he's going to get past. But it's a risky move. You don't want to make contact with the car ahead, you don't want to get in trouble and cause damage to your own car. It's the risk versus reward. And what does he want to do? Does he want to get past, or does he want to stay put and just look at the big chunky rear end with that yellow and black Mustang?
Yeah, that's the thing. In turn 1, it's a corner. It's a very tricky corner to get down to the inside when the driver on the outside can just swoop around and just leave you there stopped on the inside of the corner as slow as ever, because it's such a tight corner to have to navigate if you're on the inside there. And if you go deep enough to cover off the driver, sweep around the outside, then you're suddenly vulnerable to a cutback. And it's a very tricky thing to get done. Alex recovering here out of the last corner, coming from the barrier, and again and imagine onto the slippy stuff really outside the circuit, and lights up the rears and loops around. But we can't watch a replay. Or can we? Let's see.
Well, I can see what happens. I have a feeling a bit too much right foot. All the fire from there. Yep.
Yeah.
Not enough grip and too much of the right stuff, and the recipe for having an impromptu visit to the barrier. Now, this is the battle for the lead of the GT3's Porsche versus BMW, but I dare say they're in a very similar situation to the Mustang and Ferrari of this game. all first going thought, as however, all the Porsche thought about it. He thought about putting it up the inside. Compromising BMW a little bit up into turn 2 and 3. Next opportunity would be turn 4. Again, I don't think the Porsche is quite close enough.
No, indeed. We'll watch these two run down towards the first corner because maybe there'll be some incredible move from Fuskin here. And Scrub in chat as well saying it's so frustrating being in the little fry that couldn't.
Yes, yeah.
Really? So I've actually started driving at LMU recently, if you believe that. And I picked the Ferrari 296, and I love it for some reason. But maybe I should heed some of you guys' warnings, as Fuskin isn't able to get the job done this time into turn 1, unfortunately.
Any other track that doesn't have 3 straight of it, I think you're going to be alright. Got the straight after turn 4, the straight after turn 19, and you've got the back straight and the front start finish straight. So 4 straights realistically.
Yeah. Interesting. This is powerless. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. But I guess each track's slightly different anyway. And maybe there'll be a balance thing. But yeah, we continue to watch these battles. Aiden Carter's dropped off from the lead a couple of seconds now. So has diffused that battle, at least for now. If Cowley makes an error or Carter decides to have a mega comeback, or maybe again they're saving. Let's have a look at the virtual energy because that's so important at this stage of the race. So we can just see them.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Fantastic!
46% is the lowest, and that's Cowley's. I think that's enough. What do you think?
Yeah. Only just half a stint. Oh, half the. It'll be close. It's 25 minutes. 50 minutes is the start of the stint. It depends when they start and finish the stint or not. So we'll see what happens. I think they'll be okay. Only just.
Yeah. Great. Thanks for following as well, Oren Downey. I'm not sure why the noise did. I didn't hear the noise. I don't know if you did it. I didn't hear the fantastic noise from Mr. Murray there.
Didn't hear the Murray Walker on the stream. Now, how do you get the one graphics in spectator view? I don't actually know.
It's
to be perfectly honest.
No, so yeah. It's actually a native thing in the game. There's a yellow flag for Max Subtract. If you open up your browser whilst the game's running and enter localhost colon 6397 blah 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 blah. Let me put the link. Control panel. Actually, I'll just send you the link to the documentation. It's on the website for Studio 397, whatever it's called, basically. In news, it's there somewhere. They'll talk you through it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's magic. Thanks for the follow anyway. Thank you very much. Do appreciate it. Be sure also to join our Discord server to come and stay up to date with the latest events and plans we have for the season and seasons beyond as well. Let's see if it works. It does work. There we go. Discord. Go join our Discord. Discord.gg /oNiD Community Racing, or follow the link that is in the chat. Come get involved, come pester us, come and say hi, come and ask the questions. We'll be happy to help, and I'll hopefully see you racing for the next season. A little while away, yeah, another 6 weeks worth of racing for season 3 of 2025. But do stay tuned and keep an eye out for the updates. We may have some one-offs or other socials that we may do on oNiD, so be sure just to keep an eye out. But by all means, come and say hi and come and get involved.
Indeed, and apparently Oren there, L Downey, loves seeing League Racing LMU. Well, you're in the best place for it. There's three I think series a week, 3 streams a week for LMU specifically. We have other racing and other streams, but certainly we have plenty of LMU and so many different kinds of series as well, and they're so different, I think.
Indeed, not only LMU, we also have iRacing as well. We also have Assetto Corsa on a Thursday and a Tuesday night respectively. I think Assetto Corsa and iRacing for this season, the next few weeks, have been fully signed up. So that is no space, and I believe there's a potential reserve list if you want to sign up for reserve slots. But yeah, it's busy season, very well attended season as well. And yes, the first season of LMU, it's wonderful to see. brilliant to see being used in 3 of our 5 leagues in oNiD community racing.
Indeed, as Matthias Schieskin, comes through the second last corner with a bit of a run, I have to say, within 2/10 of the Mustang as they enter the final corner now. Onto the brakes, bit of a wiggle there, but keeps it in check as they fly through the corner there onto the straight. Within 2.5 now is the 296. I think this is the closest they've been, if I remember correctly. Let's see if it's enough. The Mustang is just building that gap out though as they go over the straight. It's just pulling away. It's got legs to spare, it seems. And yeah, we mentioned it earlier, but Petr Jelinek has joined the fight.
Yes, indeed. Not too far behind. Indeed, he's got front row seats to this battle now. How does he play it? 22 minutes ago. And by all means, this is actually the closest battle we have on circuit. The hypercars are nowhere near each other, really. No one really quite close to each other. And actually, this is the actual only real battle we have on circuit, completely between the 2 classes.
Yeah, definitely. We'll watch on board from Petr Jelinek for a little bit. Just to hear the engine as well, and this maybe their fuel system as well. It's good to hear and watch the drivers fight with these cars through the twisty section, left, right, left, so constant. Waiting for the car to load up as soon as it can and get going again. And Scrub predicting that Jelinek will get past on the straight and leave the 296 behind another car. But we'll see.
I can tell. As I said, just over 20 minutes ago of this 1 hour 40 race, pit stops are done. It's should just see these guys fight until the end, unless they've had a mistake with their energy or used up more fuel than planned and unexpected slash and dashes. We shall see. I don't envisage that being a possibility. And Aston getting closer and closer. You've got the Ferrari up ahead fighting with that oh, the Ferrari made a look! Takes avoiding action to avoid contact with the Mustang, goes wide through turn 19.
Let's watch that.
I'm going to replay that.
Yeah. When it loads.
Here we go. It's mighty close. I think there was almost contact there as well. We'll see. Now, I kind of think it's making it the inside. Oh, I think there wasn't contact, but was very close to touching the rear bumper. Thinks that they've moved up the inside, realised that it wasn't on, and backs out of it right at the last moment.
Yeah, incredibly close. I'm surprised that there wasn't contact. It was so close. Certainly it's good that he's able to keep going and remain P13 behind Martin there at least, but also maybe scaring Jelinek a little bit away now as he's dropped off a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just a case of that Mustang has fantastic straight line speed. Pulls enough for Ferrari not to be close enough to make a race, and potential late braking, maybe. No, I think it's better if it stays put into turn 1. Got the curb on the inside from the Ferrari, it's going to compromise, and I think that it might have just cost them potential turn opportunity up into turn 4 as that gap does pull out once more.
Indeed, just another 20 minutes to go as well, so you know the time is counting down to get this done, to get P12 away from Martin Thorpe, if it's indeed possible. Christian Kiesing also still remains behind Athol Baskar there, the BMW and the Porsche, as they get towards the downhill hairpin tricky corner. And constantly it looks like as well Kiesing just opening up these corners a little bit more, trying to carry a bit more speed in than the BMW to try and set something up, but just isn't able to get the pass done.
And then he's got the faster hypercars incoming past, curtailing his efforts to try and make a move. Just getting those faster cars passing at the wrong time. There's another, that's Aidan Carter actually, the Alpine, and that was currently the 2 hypercar leaders going past, and it just extends that gap once more. After all that effort he's put into closing the gap, now has to do so once more, and very unfortunate time for those fast cars come past.
It is very unfortunate indeed, but we can see the track map. Lots of clear time now, as leaders obviously are through now, and the hypercars are through. Lots of time to be undisturbed and set something up. I imagine Matthias is probably screaming in the car. Let's have a look at those now as well. 2/10 still is the gap. These two, they close up to 2/10, and then the Mustang, as I say, pulls away. But this time, he's managed to keep the gap fairly even and consistent along that little short straight. But maybe that has something to do with the hypercar getting through.
Potentially, yeah, indeed. But again, it's, I think this General Scrub must be screaming his head. I want to get this position. Slow down. Let me have it. I'll be saying a lot more worse, believe me. As you go down to the final turn again. But again, look, LMP1, so hypercars coming past. And again, that's going to stop these guys fighting potentially as that Porsche of car 99, which is Bottleston in 7th overall, goes past him, and I think regardless, he gets past him after the corner, but Mustang gets such a better run through the corner. The Aston is now closing of Genelec.
Indeed, as they go on to do another lap here. 296, just opening up turn 2, just a little bit of a kick there. Before getting onto the straight, obviously up towards turn 4. This is probably, I'm thinking this is probably his best opportunity at turn 4. Realistically, turn 1, the straight's so long, the Mustang is able to pull a gap out. The final corner and the corner before that, it's too open, you know, it's a bit of an awkward speed to complete. Turn 4, you are heavier on the brakes, and it is a bit more of a pinch, so maybe that's his best chance.
Potentially. Again, straight line versus corner. Cornering, you can get the close, you can get the closing down to the car ahead in the corners, but as soon as it matters, the car has straight line speed. Although, if you look at the outside into that tight left-hander, do have a yellow flag. There is a car off it, and these cars actually just passed that car.
Fantastic!
Not entirely sure who it was, but they have got me going again. Thank you for Lins. Underscore Lins, I hope I say that right. Thank you for the follow, welcome. You're coming into this race in the closing moments, quarter of an hour left of the second round of the Hound LMU 100 series. Our 40 race is just coming to the conclusion of the evening. The leaders here for actually, this is a little battle for the GT3, so the leaders for the GT3s are quite close. Pascal and Kaiser, nice and 10th, quite close together as we jump to them now. Closest battle at the minute is them and the midfield GT3 battle. This game, John Leckend and Thorpe. The leaders of the hypercars, though, it can be spread. It's Cowley and Carter, and the field runs spread out between all of them. As we just see that Ferrari can get around, is getting a lot more closer than before. Again, that GT3 Mustang, split line, it helps them so much.
Yeah, it definitely does. As they go through the final corner, then onto the start finish. Again, they start at about 2/10, and by the time they get down to the end of the straight, it's 3 and a bit, 4/10, I think, with the Mustang pulling away. We're almost at 3/10 there already. And we've just crossed the start-finish line there. Onto the brakes. Petter behind, undoubtedly waiting for a mistake. An opportunity to get by when he can. I don't think he's thinking he'll have the pace at this point. I think he's just watching this battle unfold and waiting for an error to be made or a bit argy-bargy or something and sneak on by that way. Christian Kiesig, again, holding out P2. I'm a little bit surprised, to be honest, just because how fast Kiesig can be. Put a car in his way, and I guess he's been arrested. His speed's arrested there as he gets ever so close to the BMW as they go towards the downhill hairpin. Best lap difference between these two, by the way, 6/10 quicker is Kiesig when he has the free air, but last lap was only 2/10 quicker than Baskar, and remains behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. What they can do for now is all to play for in GT3 as the hypercars look to have pretty much settled down into their positions. There's overall fighting going on between them, and they're all in their own little race. However, the GT3 class is still very much up for grabs.
We'll have a little look at James Cowley. This has been long enough, and the Peugeot does look quite nice, to be fair. I do like the look at the Peugeot as well. To be fair. Have you driven the hypercars then? I'm trying to think.
I have only once, and the only hypercar I've driven is just because of pure fan loyalty as a Ferrari.
Okay. I don't blame you, it's quite a nice car. We must have some Ferraris. I don't want to
P5 again. There's actually no, not that's the GT3 normally. I actually haven't seen a Ferrari in the hypercars in this season, to be perfectly honest. If we do, they're not racing tonight.
Indeed, that's a good point. We do have a number of sign-outs this week. Usually we have a full grid, really, don't we? Down to 23 cars, unfortunately, tonight, not including technical issues tonight. We've got some DNFs. Apparently everyone's a Ferrari fan, according to Scrub in the chat there, as these two round the final corner yet again. 12 minutes to go, and they continue on, as has been the case for most of the race, I think, between these two, and actually lapping. Not too far away from their best laps either, but these two lapping so consistently and so closely together. It's great to watch.
It's brilliant. But yes, and again, also shout out to them, catching up with this 4th and 5th battle, and it's doing well. You know, they were fighting away with the Mustang before the Ferrari got past them. Dropped a little bit, but now back up again to them, and it's closing. The Aston does seem to be close on the braking, but then just needs to find a way to get back past them.
Indeed. Just looking at the positions lost and gained as well there on the screen. Townsend up 5 places, Fuskin up 6 places, along with Jacob Hine, who we mentioned earlier. So some great from there. There's a mistake though from the Ferrari, of Fuskin. I was saying how well everyone was doing. Down to P6, lets PTL next slip through, and now maybe Martin Thorpe has some competition, perhaps. I don't know what the straight line speed of the Aston Martin's like.
Well, whatever happened there, just gets lost out. Looked like a potential mistake on his own. Just looked away from the PC monitor just to look at chat very briefly, and suddenly Ferrari was off. Thank you for getting a replay.
I'll see if I can catch it.
Here we go. Was it just him on his own? Too much curb potential on the throttle? Yeah. And settles the car.
Doesn't hit the wall at least. But just jumps onto the back of the three-way again.
Yeah, absolutely. Losing out now as that Ferrari's dropped quite a bit. And Patrick Genlach is now next up, 10 minutes to go. Will he be able to get the move done? League battle for GT2s as well is relatively close. Vaskar and Kozig. BMW versus Porsche first and second as it stands. The gap is about 1 second between those two, but that gap's actually extended a little bit, actually quite a lot. As I said that, potentially being lapped by some hypercars and losing time to each other very briefly, potentially. As we say, that hypercars coming up, and that is Aidan Carter, I do believe, lapping these guys again. In the Alpine.
Key there in P2 in the GT3s. Half a second, 6/10 slower last lap than Baskar. That explains the drop, and it's dropping even more. So I wonder again, if we can't see it unfortunately on the overlay here, but I wonder if they're having some virtual energy reconsiderations as there's less than 10 minutes to go. And Zach Silver has a big issue. Let's watch that back, of course. I wonder if they're having some virtual energy considerations and realizing they're having to lift a bit more.
Well, whatever happened to those guys, I'm sure they'll be able to manage the last 10 minutes. Let's see what's happened to Zach Silver. He's not managing now. His car was facing the wrong way, going down into turn 20. Oh, too much curb. Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, gets that wide and lives it round.
Had a bit of a whoopsies.
Oh, and that almost got a lot worse.
It did indeed, and taken to the kitty list and decided I'm going to take my bucket and shovel and make some sandcastles. It was able to get back into circle very promptly and does continue, albeit down in 6th position. It's battle here for the Aston and the Mustang. 8.5 minutes to go. I don't think it's going to be quite enough. Obviously he's got a few opportunities to do so, maybe 2 or 3 laps to potentially make a move.
Yeah, almost almost coming together, almost going down the inside there. I think this is a bit of a late decision, but doesn't make contact with the Mustang. He is able to keep on track. Opens up this corner a bit more than the Mustang does as well as they go onto the brakes. Now entering the hairpin. I'm just going to get a great run for this if you can. As well as looking at speed trap figures quickly. Martin Thorpe, 255 kph as fastest point. Petielek only 252. and Fuskin did 254.8. So actually, Fuskin appeared to have a higher top speed than the Aston Martin of Jelinek.
Interesting. Just not sure if that's the case. If he was fighting with the Mustang, he might not be getting the run out of the corners. Those top speeds are very equal.
Yeah, really is quite close.
Of course, there'll be measures. Actually, I'll wait to talk about Brian's performance for a moment. We won't get too nerdy as the Ferrari is starting to look to get a bit more racy with the Aston. And we did hope or think potentially Aston might be able to catch the Mustang, but the Ferrari saying, you know what, I want that position back. I made a mistake, yes, but you're not having it. And give it back to me. If no one can have the Mustang, if I can't get the Mustang, you can't get the Mustang. No one's getting the Mustang.
Yeah, precisely. As they enter turn one yet again. In a slightly different order than before, as the Ferrari has a little bit of a wobble there coming out of turn one there. Luckily he keeps hold of it.
Okay, that's certainly frustration.
Yeah, indeed, and gives Jelinek some breathing room as well to attack Thorpe as well.
Yep, absolutely. So that GT3 Ferrari will now have to gain that time back up again. And it has 6.5 minutes to do so. Scott Bass MP Hypercar is threading the needle as well. Successfully make it clear, and the Hypercar now going to pass the Mustang on the inside, are they? No, not quite. Compromises the Mustang there a little bit. They have to let the Hypercar through. Doesn't necessarily have to lift, so they've got the speed to do the Hypercar to get past on its own right, but nonetheless, these three are getting very close to each other once more.
Indeed, as they go through the downhill hairpin again onto the brakes. Difference of performance there as they get onto the back straight. Inside the slipstream, they're also close together, but the Ferrari even more so to the Aston Martin there, putting the pressure on, giving them a fight right to the end as there's a little bit of a slide entering that corner. They run up the hill, they flash the lights on the hypercars as well as they're coming through, and they don't want to be impeded. I wonder if it is indeed James Cowley, the leader, who has Aidan Carter not far behind. A second is the gap and closing, and obviously Carter, seeing this trio of cars ahead, flash the let him know he's coming, trying to get through as quick as he can because it's crucial for his race. And the three GT3 cars so close together, doesn't want to be impeded obviously, and give Carter a sniff of the lead again.
Elwood got a little bit compromised through that corner, but manages to get past those three cars, drops in between the Mustang and the Aston, and was able to retain the gap. He loses about 0.4 of a second delta between him and Carter. Carter potentially getting through those GT3s a little bit better than the leader of the hypercars as it stands with just over 4 minutes to go. The gap is actually now closed to within half a second between Cowley and Carter. And that battle for the GT3s has remained the same as well. Thorpe holding off Jelinek and Fuskin, trying to get past the Aston once more, but now staying put. 4 minutes to go, another 2 laps potentially, depending on the hypercars are.
I think so, yeah. Something like that at least.
Absolutely. Been a very entertaining hour and 40 minutes worth of racing has culminated into this as we see it. The hypercars leaders are fighting away. The leader gap has now come back up to 1.82 seconds. The lead battle for the GT3s is up to about a second. The closest battle we have is what we have right now. It is these three cars. It is Martin Thorpe, it's Petr Jelinek, it's Memphis Fuskin. It's anyone's idea who's going to take that position off Thorpe or fourth overall in the GT3s. Oh, Thorpe's gone wide though.
Except Christian Kiesig from P2 has dropped it. Let's have a quick look at that. I don't think he's at risk of losing P3, but if he's got some serious damage, he might be.
have a gander and see what's happened here. Really fast right-hander. Too much curb potentially. I think it might be. There's a bit. Oh, it spins before the corner.
Weird one that is. Yeah.
Stays out the way, lets cars go through and rejoins in a safe manner. Yeah, just using rear on the brakes basically, that was it. Nothing more to it. Stays out of danger, no damage, maybe damage to his pride.
Yeah,
no damage to the car. As
These
the
two.
Ferraris now have to look up the inside of the Aston for the final turn. Thinks better of it, tucked back in behind. The Aston's going for a dive on the Mustang. Oh God, please don't. It's 2 minutes left. He needs to make a move that's compromising. Let's now give the Ferrari an option to try and go up with the inside of turn 1. Aston puts its foot down and hopes a straight line can save him. And the Ferrari, however, in the slipstream, I think will dart out in any second now. Indeed he does. Fisken thinks about making a move. Can't do it, and the Aston survives the fight for at least one more lap, and trying to get that Mustang ahead of him.
Yeah, certainly. I think next lap will indeed be the last lap. We can see the leaders on the minimap there, the little diamond coming through the squiggly section now. So we'll have another lap. Oh, actually, is it time +1? I can't remember. I think it'll be when they cross the line. When the time's out will be their thing, so it'll be close because they're currently a minute and 10 into their lap are the leaders, and lap for them is about 2 minutes 13, so they've got a minute to go. It's going to be really close. I think there's another lap, that long story short, as there's a yellow flag briefly for someone did catch who that was, unfortunately. The PTN lap though, holding on for now. He's trying to let the hypercars car go through as well, and maybe that +1 lap calculation, if Cowley does cross the line. Maybe some of the GT3 or the hypercar drivers haven't accounted for, sneaking one extra lap in, and maybe will misfueled or need to left or coast.
Absolutely, Petr got a bit of breathing space for a minute. That hypercar getting past the Ferrari of Fisken, put the Ferrari back a little bit, getting some breathing space going for that first sector. He will, however, get back right on it. He will have to then try and close back up onto the Mustang of Thorpe. That gap is a little bit larger than it was, about 0.8 per second, as the timer is 15 seconds away from hitting 0. We'll shortly get an answer into who's doing what with position. Oh, that's the leader in.
Indeed, and that lets Aiden Carter take the lead. Yeah, the leader's entering the pits, maybe for a drive-through penalty. Let's have a look if he stops or not.
Oh dear. The hypercar's gone past the start of finish straight. Their last lap is about 3 or 4 seconds left on the clock. Clock now hit 0. Checker flag will be waved for the next time round. That's a drive-through.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Very unfortunate there. Comes out P2. Obviously, Angelo Scotti far enough away where P3's, P2's not at risk. Still, that's the lead of the race. Unfortunately, handed back to Aiden Carter, who started there after qualifying, obviously. Doing a great job, and James Cowley returning to his qualifying position as well in P2.
Gifted that win. He keeps it on circuit. If he has enough energy, Carter will take the win.
Yeah, let's have a quick look. Speaking of energy here. Oh, it's getting quite low, but I think it's enough. I don't have the actual numbers to translate that, but
what enough energy has the Aston of passage and lack, so they should be okay. The yellow flag, however, that is Bottleson or Savchuk. Both same cars in terms of makes, but actually livery, yes, the Bottleson's in the white Porsche and Savchuk in that red and white Porsche.
Oops. Let's go back to that Yelnek battle. It's pretty much been the Fuskin Thorpe Yelnek show tonight, hasn't it really? Obviously, the hypercars have been pretty much settled. We've had a few fights, great to watch obviously, but these three have just been, certainly Thorpe and Fuskin anyway, just been glued together.
They have indeed, so it would be a case of they can make anything happen in the last lap. The Ferraris drop back. Where's our leader, Aiden Carter? I think they're coming to the final turn now, but they'll be showing the checkered flag. It'll be a race win for them after an unforeseen stop by James Cowley. we see this battle. We'll stick with this battle. The checkered flag just being away for Carter. I think they've just seen the checkered flag. We'll stick on this battle here, and it is going to be... It's actually quite close. That's not ignore me. This battle here is the closest one we have. The leaders of duty fees are spread out quite significantly, as we'll see if Genelec can do anything. Going down to the penultimate turn.
Great sounding car as well.
It is beautiful. So we can pause for a moment just to listen in as we go through the fight. It's not going to be enough. I think White Fox going to hold off there for where's P4 overall. Flashing lights in gratitude, I'm sure, of both drivers there as they see the checkered flag, and that's race over for them both. Fantastically fought from them both, but that's going to be that. It's going to still see the checkered flag as well. It is Carter, Cowley, Buddy Hine for the top four of hypercars. The top four is Baskar, Cozy, Townsend and Thorpe, who have all seen the checkered flag. They lost a couple of cars, just waiting for them to come to the line. We'll see what happens for these guys. It's going to be Tim Bob, I do believe, coming to the line. You have three DNFs, sadly. It's Ghazali and Laborich and Ashley all DNFing and retiring from the race on this occasion.
Indeed.
I think that is everyone. Oh, a couple more cars see checkered flag. It's all in 155. Ferrari, and that is 35. Let's go into the pits. That's Carter winning the race and just returning to the pit lane. Yeah, that's it. We're all done. That's it.
Wow.
We're back into the pits. That's the race over.
Yeah, what a race as well. What a great little just a non-stop battle between Yiskin and Thorpe, obviously. Petter now joining us in chat as well. Welcome. It looked intense. Great stuff. Obviously we saw you catching up to the three-way, then you're in the middle of the three-way, and then obviously you had fights in the end there. So yeah, great battles.
Absolutely. Indeed. Can we see the full result? Is that a thing?
Let me see if we can find the right button. Here we go. Let's do it with... Oops. There we go.
There we go. Full result for the second round of the SimHound Le Mans Ultimate 100 Series. Aidan Carter takes the win from Cowley on the last lap. Cowley having to do a drive-through, presumably, for track limits. So it's Angela Scotty, Jacob Hine, Charlie Morgan, Zach Silver, Runa Bottleson, Lovchuk, Noah Ghazali, and Ben Lieberich is your classified top 10 for the hypercars in GT3. Ethel Baskar finishes ahead of Cozy. What battle that could have been if Cozy didn't have a spin on his own. That first and second battle was heating up, but then sadly that's the spin on the second to last or third to last lap for Christian. Sorry about contention. It is Townsend in third, all on his own in the battle for fourth, fifth, and sixth. Was anyone's guess. Thorpe takes it, however, in the Mustang. Genelec in fifth, Luskin sixth, Yaroshenko seventh, Lindblom eighth, Ralph Vest ninth, Lecky 10th. All classified as one lap down. They have Tim Bob, Alice Parkin, and sadly classified 13th, Johnny Ashley not being able to finish the race.
Indeed.
Can we breathe now?
Indeed we can, yes. That was some good stuff. And let's not forget as well, 100 minutes race, 17 degrees track temp, and just that tricky squiggly section to deal with as well. And somehow they kept it on the circuit for 95% of it, 99 maybe for most of them. A few track limit penalties I'm seeing as well that came up, and obviously we saw the drive through at the end there for James Cowley. Unfortunately, that gave Aidan Carter back the lead. Also, as well worth noting, Athel Baskar managed to pull off a 44-second stop, which is well below well below the average stop in the GT3 field. So either did a bit of a better calculation, managed to save some fuel somehow, whatever it was. It obviously gave him the lead from Kirsten Kiesig, and maybe that'll open up a couple ideas for the future races for the other drivers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, next week we will be for the oNiD SimHound 100 series. Hopefully, we'll have your ever so wonderful Tom Tozer back in the comms booth for next week. We will be going to Le Mans for the Mulsanne straight formations. I don't believe that's the track without the chicanes on the Mulsanne straight.
Indeed.
So slipstream will be the name of the game, and high speed as well down that back straight. No lifting, full throttle. That would be brilliant to see, and that'll be on the Twitch channel here, same time, same place as next week with Tom Tozen and wonderful Sam. Thank you so much for tonight. It's been actually rather entertaining coming on to a Sunday night with LMU. It's wonderful to see that we're still got going on a Sunday night.
Yeah, definitely. And you're usually racing in LMU, and we're usually watching you and cheering you along, etc. So you're in the comms booth.
You usually watch me inadvertently put it into neutral. That seems to be the ongoing joke at the minute. If you've watched the first round of the LMU Academy on a Wednesday night, I somehow managed to put my LMP2 into neutral, put it into first, and the engine revved and blew.
Yeah,
quite spectacularly on the last lap of all laps.
It's unfortunate, but at the same time, isn't it fantastic what LMU could do with damage and engines and tyre wear and all these little things? It's great.
Those little things, absolutely. It's wonderful to see. Folks, we'll be back live again tomorrow night, Monday night, for the LMU GT3 festival. I happen to think for a minute. It's been a while since I've had to think of what's happening on a Monday. It is the oNiD SimHound LMU GT3 festival, powered by Coach Dave Academy. They are going to be at tomorrow's round is round 3, Monza Curva Grande. Again, we believe, without the first chicane, which will be, again, more slipstreaming. We'll keep an eye. Please do come and show your support for tomorrow as well. It's been wonderful to have you all here on Twitch tonight. I will be watching tomorrow. Your comms team will be bringing you that race live on Twitch. On Tuesday, we're back for myself, and Scotty will bring you the third round of the JCW Mini Championship, and that's going to be on Assetto Corsa. Wednesday, as we've already mentioned, LMU on the Academy Championship. We're going to where these cars are going to next week. We're going to Le Mans as well. Thursday will be iRacing. Won't be myself as usual. It'll be Ben Brown covering from me whilst I'm away. But iRacing will be going to Thursday night on a Snetterton 200, I believe, following the British circuits on this series. And then we're back live again for this race the next week today on the Sunday. As we said, go to the Le Mans Mulsanne layout. Folks, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your viewership. It's been wonderful to have you. If you haven't done so already, come and get involved in the Discord. Link is somewhere in the Twitch chat. And we hope to see you all again very, very, very soon.
Indeed. Thank you, everyone. And good night.